My child, stop for a moment. Do not scroll past this. What I am about to tell you could change the direction of your life if you truly hear it. Right now, someone else may already be moving toward the opportunity you have been hesitating about. One you have been thinking, weighing, waiting, the window hath been quietly shifting. This message is not here to pressure you. It is here to wake you. Because some moments in life are small on the surface but massive in consequence. Stay with me until the end of this message. Listen carefully, not casually. What you are about to hear will reveal why you must act now, before someone else steps into what was meant for you. Do not leave halfway through. The step that could change everything is closer than you think. My child, slow down for a moment and stay with me here. I want you to feel that this moment between you and me is real, not rushed, not forced, just a quiet space where I can speak directly to your heart. You may have opened this message thinking it was just another thing to read, another voice passing through your day. But I know exactly where you are in your life right now, and I know the thoughts that have been moving through your mind recently. You have been sensing something subtle, something difficult to explain even to yourself. It is not loud. It does not come like a storm. Instead, it shows up as a gentle awareness, like a small shift inside your spirit that keeps returning to your attention. You may notice it late at night when everything becomes quiet. You may feel it when you pause during your day and your mind drifts toward the future. It is that inner sense that something around you is changing, even though you cannot yet see the full picture. I want you to understand that this feeling is not random. I allowed it to rise inside you because you are standing in a moment where awareness matters more than you realize. You see, my child, there are seasons in your life where everything moves slowly and quietly, and those seasons serve a purpose. They give you time to grow, to heal, to gather strength without pressure. But there are other seasons when movement begins forming beneath the surface long before anyone can see it clearly. Right now you are standing inside one of those seasons. You may still look around and see ordinary days, familiar routines, the same responsibilities that have been part of your life for a while. Nothing on the outside seems urgent. Yet beneath what you can see, something is beginning to unfold. People around you are making decisions you may not know about yet. Opportunities are beginning to take shape in places you have not looked yet. Paths that were once closed are quietly beginning to open, while other paths that seem stable may slowly begin to shift. I see every one of these movements clearly because nothing escapes my sight. When I draw your attention like this, it is not to create pressure in your heart. It is because I want you awake to what is happening so that you do not drift through this moment unaware. There are times when a single step taken at the right moment carries more weight than months of effort later. And my desire for you is that you recognize this moment while it is still unfolding, not after it has already passed. And now listen to me carefully, because this is where I want to guide your thinking gently. You have a habit of taking time before acting. That part of you comes from wisdom and humility. You want to understand things fully before you move. You do not like rushing into decisions without reflection, and that is something I value in you. Yet there is another side to this pattern that you may not always notice. Sometimes the same careful thinking that protects you can quietly slow you down longer than necessary. You begin to wait for clarity that feels complete. You search for signs that remove every uncertainty. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward around you. Others begin acting while you are still evaluating the situation. This is not a criticism of you, my child. I know the intentions of your heart. I know you simply want to do what is right. But right now I want you to recognize that waiting is not always neutral. In some moments, waiting protects you. In other moments, waiting slowly moves you further away from the opportunity that once stood right in front of you. That is why I am speaking to you like this, calmly and honestly. I want you to notice the subtle shift that is happening in your life. The world around you is beginning to move in ways you cannot fully see yet. The question that matters now is not whether change is coming. The question is whether you will recognize it while it is still forming. Let me explain something that will help you understand this moment better. Opportunities rarely appear with loud announcements. Most of the time they arrive quietly. They look small at first. They feel uncertain. Sometimes they appear in conversations, ideas, invitations, or situations that do not seem dramatic when they first appear. Because they look ordinary, many people overlook them. They assume there will always be another chance later. They tell themselves they will think about it tomorrow, or next week, or when life becomes calmer. But time does not stand still waiting for someone to feel ready. While one person delays, another person begins moving forward. By the time the first person decides to act, the moment that once belonged to them has already shifted into someone else's hands. I have watched this pattern happen many times in the lives of my children. It is not about competition in the way the world talks about winning and losing. It is simply the reality that certain doors remain open only for a certain window of time. When that window closes, the door may not return in the same way again. I know that hearing this may stir a quiet seriousness inside you, and that is not something you need to fear. My intention is not to fill your heart with pressure or anxiety. I am not telling you that you must rush blindly into something without thought. What I want for you is awareness. Awareness changes everything. When you recognize that a moment carries importance, you begin to pay closer attention to the choices you make within it. Instead of drifting through your days automatically, you begin to move with intention. You begin to notice the small opportunities that once seemed ordinary. You begin to listen more carefully to the direction forming inside your heart. And that is exactly what I want happening inside you right now. I want you aware that the season around you is beginning to shift. The same quiet awareness you have been feeling recently is part of that shift. It is like the first breeze before a change in weather. It does not look dramatic yet, but it tells you something new is approaching. There is something else I want you to understand, my child, and this part matters deeply. The movement forming around you is not meant to threaten you or pull you aside. You are not standing on the edge of losing your place in life. The opportunity unfolding around you is actually meant for you to participate in. The only risk is not recognizing it while it is still close enough to step into. That is why I am speaking to you now, not later. I want you attentive. I want your eyes open. I want your heart awake to the possibility that the next step of your life may be forming right in front of you in ways that still look small today. When you stay aware like this, you begin to see opportunities earlier than before. You begin to act while the door is still open instead of standing outside after it has closed. That kind of awareness is a gift, and I am placing it gently into your hands now. So stay with me in this thought for a moment longer. Right now you are not behind. You are not late. Nothing hath been lost yet. You are simply standing at the beginning of a moment that is still unfolding. The shift around you is quiet, but it is real. People are moving. Decisions are forming. Doors are beginning to move in ways you cannot fully see yet. What matters now is that you stay awake to it. Let the awareness inside you grow instead of pushing it aside. Pay attention to the thoughts that keep returning to your mind. Notice the opportunities that begin appearing in front of you. These small signals are often the first signs of something greater beginning to take shape. And as you stay aware of them, I will continue guiding you step by step so that when the moment arrives to move, you will recognize it clearly. My child, come closer and listen to me carefully, because I want you to truly understand what I am about to say. You are standing in a season where the way you respond to the present moment will shape more than just the next few days of your life. It will influence the direction of your path in ways you cannot fully see yet. I know you have always been thoughtful. You do not rush forward blindly. You prefer to observe, reflect, and consider your steps before you move. That part of your nature has protected you many times before, and I have been pleased to see you grow through wisdom instead of reckless choices. But I want you to look at your life right now through a slightly different lens. Something subtle has shifted in the atmosphere around you. The season you are in is no longer one where waiting quietly will keep everything safe and steady. What once protected you is now slowly becoming the thing that may hold you back if you do not recognize the change that is happening. Let me speak plainly to your heart. When you wait during a season of preparation, that waiting strengthens you. It builds patience. It deepens your understanding. Yet when you continue waiting after the moment for movement has already arrived, the same waiting begins to quietly work against you. Think of it like standing beside a door that has just opened. The light from the other side is already visible. The invitation is already present. You can feel the opportunity standing there in front of you, but instead of stepping through, you pause to analyze every detail of what might be on the other side. While you stand there, someone else who sees the same open door may decide to step forward first. The door was not meant to exclude you, but time does not pause simply because you are still deciding. I want you to imagine that scene clearly because it reflects the quiet reality of many moments in life. Opportunities rarely shout. They simply open, wait, and then close when their window has passed. That is why I am inviting you now to wake up your awareness. Look carefully at the situations forming around you. Notice the ideas that have been returning to your mind again and again. Pay attention to the moments when you feel a gentle nudge telling you that something requires your attention. These are not coincidences. They are small signals that your season is shifting from reflection into movement. Now I want you to do something important. Stop for a moment and examine the thoughts that have been slowing you down. I already know them, but I want you to see them clearly as well. You sometimes tell yourself that you need just a little more time before acting. You want to gather more certainty. You want to make sure the decision will not lead to a mistake. You quietly wonder whether you are ready enough or capable enough to move forward. Those thoughts feel reasonable on the surface, yet they can slowly become a comfortable hiding place where progress never begins. I want you to hear me clearly on this point. Readiness does not arrive as a perfect feeling that removes every doubt from your heart. It arrives as a moment where you sense that the step in front of you matters, even though some uncertainty still exists. That is the place where courage becomes important. You do not need complete confidence to begin moving. You simply need the willingness to step forward while your understanding is still growing. The path will reveal itself as you walk it. But if you stand still waiting for the entire road to appear before your eyes, you may remain in the same place longer than you ever intended. There is another part of this moment I want you to see honestly. Life continues moving whether you act or not. People around you are making decisions. Opportunities are forming in conversations, in ideas, in invitations that may seem ordinary at first glance. Some of those opportunities are meant for you to recognize and claim. But if you delay too long, someone else may move into that same space simply because they were willing to act sooner. This is not about rivalry or conflict. It is simply the way time works in the world you live in. The person who begins moving earlier naturally gathers momentum. The one who hesitates continues watching from the same place. I do not want that story to become part of your life when the opportunity in front of you was always meant to involve you. That is why I am speaking to you with clarity and care right now. I am inviting you to wake up to the reality that the moment you are living in matters. Waiting longer will not necessarily bring more clarity. In fact, in some situations it quietly reduces the possibilities that once stood within your reach. So take a deep breath with me and consider what I am placing before you. I am not asking you to rush into chaos or abandon wisdom. I am asking you to become aware that you are no longer in a season where waiting quietly keeps everything safe. You have entered a season where thoughtful action will protect your future more than hesitation ever could. Let that understanding settle into your heart. Let it change the way you observe your surroundings. When an opportunity appears, lean toward it instead of stepping back from it. When an idea continues returning to your mind, explore it instead of pushing it aside. When you feel that inner pull telling you something matters, pause and give it your attention instead of dismissing it as a passing thought. The shift in your season means your role must also shift. The same thoughtful heart you have always carried will now guide your steps forward rather than holding you in place. Walk with that awareness. Pay attention. And when the moment arrives for you to move, do not hesitate to step forward and meet it. My child, I want you to stay with me as we continue this conversation, because the understanding I am about to share will help you see your situation with clearer eyes. There is a quiet reality in the world around you that many people rarely talk about openly. It is not loud or aggressive, and it does not always look like the kind of competition you might imagine. Most of the time it unfolds quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. People are pursuing their goals, their dreams, their opportunities. While they do this, they are naturally moving toward the same doors that others may also be approaching. It does not mean anyone intends harm. It simply means that opportunities exist within time, and the people who move toward them sooner often reach them first. I want you to see this truth without fear, because understanding it will help you recognize why your response to the present moment matters so much. Think about the opportunities that appear in life. Sometimes they arrive as ideas that spark in your mind. Other times they come through conversations, invitations, or circumstances that open new possibilities. When these moments appear, they rarely belong to only one person forever. They exist for anyone who is willing to notice them and step forward. While you are still reflecting and deciding, someone else may already be moving. While you are analyzing whether the step feels safe enough, another person may have already begun taking that step. The difference is not always talent or intelligence. Often the difference is simply the willingness to act while the opportunity is still fresh. I have watched this pattern repeat itself countless times in the lives of my children. Some individuals sense the moment and begin moving even while uncertainty still exists. Others remain thoughtful and cautious, believing there will always be another chance later. By the time they feel ready, the landscape around them has already shifted because someone else responded sooner. Now listen closely to what I want you to understand. Your life is not a race where my love must be earned by reaching the finish line before anyone else. You are not competing for my approval. You already have my attention, my care, and my presence. But certain opportunities still exist within the flow of time, and time continues moving forward for everyone. When a door opens, it creates a brief window where action can transform possibility into reality. That window does not remain open forever. The moment eventually shifts, and the opportunity takes a different form. I want you to see this not as a threat but as a reminder of how valuable the present moment truly is. The step you take today can position you in places that waiting cannot reach later. This is why awareness matters so much. When you notice the door opening, you gain the chance to move, while the opportunity is still alive. Let me invite you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself standing in a wide field where several paths stretch out in different directions. You are not alone in that field. Other people are also present, each one considering which path to take. Some of them begin walking quickly. Others move slowly. A few remain standing still, trying to decide which direction feels safest. The paths themselves do not belong exclusively to one person. They simply exist, waiting for someone to walk them. The individuals who begin walking sooner start discovering what lies along the path. They learn from the experience, adjust their direction if needed, and continue moving forward. The ones who remain standing still may still have the same paths available at first, but as time passes, the landscape around them begins to change. New obstacles appear. The distance to the beginning of the path grows longer. What once required only a small step may later require much more effort. I share this picture with you because it reflects the moment you are living in right now. The field is open. The paths are visible. The question that matters is whether you will begin walking while the path in front of you is still close enough to reach easily. So I want you to do something very practical. Begin paying attention to the opportunities that appear around you over the next days and weeks. Do not dismiss them quickly. When something catches your attention, pause and explore it. Ask yourself whether this could be part of the direction forming in your life. If you sense that it might be important, take a small step toward it. Make the call. Start the conversation. Explore the idea. The first step does not need to be perfect. Its purpose is simply to move you from standing still into movement. Once you begin moving, you will discover things that cannot be seen from where you are standing now. A new clarity will appear. New doors may open. And you will no longer be watching life from a distance while others move ahead. Instead, you will be walking the path that was always meant for you to explore. My child, stay with me for a moment and allow me to speak gently into something I see within you. I want you to hear this with an open heart because what I am about to say is not meant to criticize you. I know the private spaces of your thoughts. I see the quiet places where you weigh decisions and measure possibilities. When you hesitate, it is not because you are careless or lazy. Your hesitation often comes from a deep desire to make the right move. You want to choose wisely. You want to protect what matters in your life. You do not want to step forward only to discover that the path leads to disappointment. I understand that about you. Yet there is another layer beneath your hesitation that I want you to recognize. Sometimes the pause in your step is connected to a quiet question about your own worth. You may not say it aloud, but inside your mind there are moments when you wonder whether you truly belong in the opportunities appearing before you. You see possibilities forming, and part of you begins asking whether someone else might be more capable, more prepared, or more deserving than you are. That thought slips in quietly and sits beside your caution. It feels reasonable in the moment, but it slowly weakens your willingness to act. Now listen closely to me, because I want to shift how you see this part of yourself. When you begin to doubt your place in the opportunities around you, you start observing life from the outside instead of participating in it. You watch doors open while convincing yourself that they were meant for someone else. You study possibilities carefully while telling yourself that you still need more preparation before stepping forward. Over time, that pattern becomes comfortable, and comfort can quietly disguise itself as wisdom. But I want you to pause right here and look honestly at what is happening. Your life was never designed for you to remain on the sidelines while others move into the spaces that once stood open before you. The abilities inside you did not appear by accident. The experiences that shape your character were not random events. I allowed those moments to refine you, to strengthen your judgment, and to develop qualities that are meant to be used in real situations. When you question whether you are ready enough, you are often overlooking how much growth has already taken place within you. You have learned from failure. You have gained patience through difficulty. You have developed insight through the very challenges you once wished you could avoid. All of those things together form a kind of quiet strength that you carry today. So I want to invite you to do something practical with me right now. Instead of focusing only on what you still feel unsure about, begin looking at what you already carry within you. Think about the situations you have navigated in the past. Remember the moments when you thought you would not know what to do, yet somehow you found your way forward step by step. You did not always have a perfect plan when those moments began. In fact, many of them started with uncertainty that felt uncomfortable at first. Yet as you moved through the experience, understanding began to grow. Your confidence slowly formed through the act of participating rather than standing back and analyzing everything from a distance. I want you to see that same pattern unfolding again in your life right now. The opportunities you are facing may not come with detailed instructions. They may not arrive wrapped in certainty. But that does not mean you lack the ability to step into them. Often the strength required for a situation becomes visible only after you enter it. When you remain outside the situation, your mind keeps imagining reasons why you might not succeed. Once you begin moving, your focus shifts from imagining failure to discovering solutions. Let me guide your attention to another important truth. You are not expected to be flawless before you begin. Perfection is not the requirement for progress. Growth happens through experience, and experience naturally includes mistakes, adjustments, and lessons along the way. Many people remain frozen in place because they believe their first step must be perfectly executed. They spend years preparing for a moment that could have begun with a simple attempt. I do not want that to become your story. The purpose of your abilities is not to create an image of perfection that impresses others. The purpose of your abilities is to serve the life that is unfolding before you. When you begin moving, you learn what works. When something does not work, you adapt. When new information appears, you adjust your direction. That is how meaningful progress actually unfolds in the real world. I want you to embrace that process instead of waiting for a moment where every uncertainty disappears. Life rarely offers that kind of moment. So here is what I want you to do as you move forward from this point. When you notice hesitation rising inside you, pause and ask yourself what thought is sitting beneath it. If the thought is telling you that you are not ready enough, challenge it gently. Look at the experiences that have already prepared you. If the thought suggests that someone else might deserve the opportunity more than you do, remind yourself that opportunities often exist for anyone willing to step forward and engage with them. You do not need permission from the world to participate in the life unfolding around you. I have already placed you here with the capacity to contribute in ways that are uniquely yours. Allow that truth to settle into your heart. Let it change the way you approach the opportunities appearing before you. Instead of stepping back from them, begin leaning toward them with curiosity and courage. The path ahead will become clearer as you walk it, and the strength you need will grow stronger with every step you take. My child, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a moment in your life that looks completely ordinary from the outside. You wake up, go through your usual routines, and move through the day as you always do. Nothing about the morning suggests that anything significant is about to happen. Yet somewhere within that ordinary day, a quiet decision appears in front of you. It may arrive as a conversation you have been considering for a long time. It may appear as an opportunity you have been thinking about but never fully pursued. It may simply be the moment when you finally decide to begin something you have postponed again and again. From the outside, this decision may look small. It may not attract attention. It may not feel dramatic at first. Yet inside that small moment lies the power to redirect the course of your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Many of the most important turning points in life begin exactly this way. They arrive quietly, almost unnoticed, and they wait patiently to see what you will choose. I want you to understand something important about these quiet crossroads. When you are standing inside them, they rarely look as significant as they will appear when you look back years later. At the time, they simply feel like choices between one step and another. One direction feels familiar and safe. The other direction carries a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty. Because the moment appears ordinary, it becomes easy to treat it casually. People tell themselves that they will decide later. They assume the same opportunity will return at another time. Sometimes that assumption proves false. The moment fades, the circumstances change, and the choice that once stood clearly in front of them quietly disappears. Later, when they reflect on their life, they begin to realize that the turning point they overlooked was hidden within what once seemed like an ordinary day. I do not want that realization to come to you as regret in the future. That is why I am guiding your awareness now while the moment is still alive. Let me speak directly to you about the step that may soon appear before you. You may not recognize it immediately as a turning point. It might come disguised as a simple invitation to begin something new. It might appear as a decision you have postponed several times because the timing never felt perfect. When that moment arrives, I want you to slow down and examine it carefully. Instead of asking only whether the step feels comfortable, ask yourself whether the opportunity carries meaning for the direction you want your life to take. If the answer feels even slightly significant, consider what might happen if you finally moved forward instead of stepping back. Imagine the conversations that might unfold. Picture the connections that might form. Consider the knowledge you might gain through the experience. Often the value of a decision cannot be measured by how easy it feels at the beginning. Its true value becomes visible through the doors it opens later. Now I want to give you a practical invitation that can help you respond differently when these moments appear. When you recognize a decision that seems important, do not rush past it as if it were just another passing thought. Pause and give it your full attention. Sit with the possibility for a while. Write down what excites you about it and what concerns you about it. Then ask yourself a simple question that can reveal the truth hidden beneath your hesitation. Ask yourself whether the fear you feel is warning you of real danger or simply reminding you that growth often begins outside your familiar routines. Many times the discomfort you feel is not a signal that the path is wrong. It is simply the natural reaction that comes whenever you step into new territory. Once you understand that difference, you can begin moving forward with a clearer mind. You will recognize when caution is wise and when courage is required. There is something else I want you to remember as you stand in these quiet crossroads. You are not alone in the decision you are about to make. I walk with you through every stage of your journey. My presence does not remove every uncertainty from your life, but it offers guidance as you move through it. When you choose to act with thoughtful courage, you begin discovering possibilities that were invisible while you were standing still. New ideas appear. New people enter your life. Unexpected opportunities begin connecting together in ways you could not have predicted earlier. All of this becomes possible because of one simple action. You chose to step forward instead of remaining where you were. That is how quiet decisions become turning points. They begin with a single movement, but that movement creates a ripple that spreads far beyond the moment in which it started. So I want you to hold this understanding close to your heart as we continue our conversation. The day you are living right now may look ordinary, yet within it may exist a decision that carries more importance than you currently realize. Pay attention to the choices that appear before you. Treat them with the respect they deserve. When the moment arrives where a step forward could open a new direction in your life, do not dismiss it casually. Take a breath, gather your courage, and consider what might happen if you finally move. Quiet decisions have the power to change everything. My child, stay here with me for a moment and let your heart slow down enough to hear what I am about to tell you. You have been measuring your readiness for a long time. I see the way your mind works. You want to understand the road before you step onto it. You prefer to feel prepared before you move. In many situations, that careful thinking has protected you from unnecessary trouble. I value the thoughtful spirit you carry. Yet I want to gently guide you toward a deeper understanding of something that shapes many lives without people realizing it. Readiness and courage are not the same thing. Many people believe they must wait until readiness arrives before they can begin anything meaningful. They tell themselves that one day they will wake up feeling fully prepared, completely certain, and perfectly confident about the step in front of them. But life rarely unfolds that way. The moment of readiness that people imagine often never arrives. What actually moves a person forward is courage, not the absence of doubt. Look closely at your own experiences and you will begin to see this pattern. Think about the times when you faced something unfamiliar in the past. Perhaps it was a new responsibility, a difficult conversation, or a situation where you had to rely on abilities you had not used before. In those moments, you probably did not feel fully prepared. Your thoughts may have been racing with questions. You may have wondered whether you would handle the situation well. Yet you stepped forward anyway, even if your step was small and careful. Once you entered the situation, something interesting happened. Your understanding began to grow. Solutions appeared that were invisible before. Strength that you did not realize you possessed started rising to the surface. That is the quiet miracle of courage. Courage does not remove uncertainty before you act. It allows you to move while uncertainty still exists. When you step into a situation with courage, you create the environment where your abilities can finally reveal themselves. Now I want you to do something simple but powerful. Take a breath and reflect on how often you have postponed a step in your life because you were waiting to feel completely ready. You may have told yourself that you needed more time, more knowledge, or more confidence before beginning. Those reasons may have felt responsible and wise at the time. Yet some of those moments might still linger in your memory today because you sense that you could have begun earlier. I am not bringing those memories to your attention to make you feel regret. I am showing them to you so you can recognize the pattern and choose a different response moving forward. The opportunity forming around you right now does not require perfect readiness. It asks for willingness. It invites you to step forward with a heart that is open to learning as you go. When you accept that invitation, the process of growth begins immediately. Every step becomes a teacher. Every experience becomes a lesson that shapes your next move. Let me give you an image that might help you understand this more clearly. Imagine standing at the edge of a wide river. You want to reach the other side, but the water looks deep and you cannot see every stone beneath the surface. If you wait for the river to become completely transparent before you begin crossing, you may remain standing on the same shore forever. But if you take one careful step into the water, you begin discovering where the stones are. Each step reveals the next place where your foot can rest. You are in the rhythm of a current. Your balance adjusts. Before long you realize that the crossing was possible all along. That is how courage works in your life. It does not promise that the entire journey will be visible from the beginning. It simply invites you to begin walking so the path can reveal itself gradually. I want you to carry that image with you because it reflects the moment you are living in right now. So here is my invitation to you. When you notice the familiar voice inside your mind asking whether you are ready enough, pause and listen carefully. Instead of answering that question immediately, ask a different one. Ask yourself whether you have enough courage to begin learning through action. That question shifts your focus from perfection to participation. It reminds you that the purpose of your life is not to wait endlessly for certainty, but to engage with the opportunities that appear before you. When you choose courage in this way, you open the door to experiences that will shape your growth in ways that waiting never could. I am beside you as you take those steps. My guidance will continue to reach you as you move forward. Allow courage to lead your next decision, and watch how new understanding begins unfolding in front of you. My child, there is another truth I want you to understand as we continue this conversation. Many people believe that action creates risk while waiting keeps them safe. At first glance, that idea seems reasonable. If you remain where you are, you avoid mistakes. If you do not step forward, nothing appears to go wrong. Yet the deeper reality of life reveals something very different. In many situations, action is what protects your future, while hesitation slowly narrows the possibilities that once stood before you. I want you to see this clearly because it will change the way you think about the decisions you are facing right now. When you choose to act at the right moment, you begin shaping the direction of your life instead of allowing circumstances to shape it without your participation. Consider the way opportunities develop. When you take action, even a small step, you create movement. Movement leads to new experiences. Those experiences introduce you to people, ideas, and situations that would never appear if you remained in the same place. A simple decision to explore an opportunity may lead to a conversation that opens another door. That conversation might connect you with someone who shares knowledge or insight you did not previously have. From that new understanding, another possibility begins to grow. Over time, these small movements form a chain of progress that can transform the direction of your life. None of it begins with a perfect plan. It begins with a willingness to act while the opportunity is still present. The person who begins walking discovers pathways that remain invisible to the one who stays behind studying the map. Now imagine the opposite situation for a moment. A person notices an opportunity but decides to wait until everything feels more certain. Days pass. Weeks pass. The opportunity slowly changes shape because time continues moving forward. Other people begin responding to it. New circumstances develop around it. By the time the person finally feels ready to act, the landscape has shifted. The door that once stood open may not have closed completely, but it now requires far more effort to enter. What once needed a simple step now demands a complicated climb. This is how hesitation quietly reduces possibilities without people realizing it. The future becomes smaller not because the person lacked ability, but because they waited too long to engage with the moment when the opportunity was most accessible. I want you to understand that action does not guarantee immediate success. No honest path in life offers that promise. What action does guarantee is experience, growth, and visibility into the next stage of your journey. When you act, you gather information that cannot be gained through thinking alone. You begin learning what works and what does not. You meet people who influence your direction in unexpected ways. You discover strengths inside yourself that would remain hidden if you never tested them in real situations. All of these things combine to protect your future because they expand your understanding of what is possible. Waiting, on the other hand, keeps your world small. It limits your knowledge to the thoughts already inside your mind. It prevents new influences from entering your life. Let me invite you to picture your future as a landscape that is still forming. Each action you take places a new piece into that landscape. Some pieces become stepping stones that lead to opportunities you could not imagine earlier. Other pieces become lessons that guide you away from paths that would not serve you well. Either way, movement keeps the landscape alive and expanding. The moment you stop moving, the landscape begins to shrink around you because nothing new is being added to it. That is why I want you to see action not as something dangerous, but as something protective. It guards your future by keeping possibilities open. It allows your life to grow in directions that waiting alone could never create. So I want you to take this understanding seriously as you continue moving through the days ahead. When you see an opportunity forming, do not immediately step back in fear of making a mistake. Instead, pause and ask yourself what small action could move you one step closer to exploring that possibility. It might be a message you send, a conversation you begin, or a simple plan you start putting into motion. These actions may seem small in the moment, yet they carry the power to open doors that remain invisible to those who never begin. I am encouraging you now to step into that movement. Let your actions become the seeds that shape the future you are meant to experience. My child, just as I have shown you that action protects your future, I now reveal another opportunity before you. When you choose to support the spreading of my word through this message, you are sowing seeds into a field of souls that are searching for light. I tell you now, as it is written in Galatians 6:7, that whatever a person sows, that they will also reap, and every seed given for my purpose produces a harvest beyond what your eyes can see. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering placed through the link in the description, you become part of the movement that carries my voice to hearts that are waiting in darkness. This is not merely a donation. It is oil poured into a lamp so the light can reach further into the night. I am stirring this desire within you because you were not meant to stand still when you can help open doors for others. If your heart feels that pull right now, it is my invitation calling you to act. Sow the seed I place in your hand today, and watch how I multiply the harvest around your life. So do not hesitate. Support this mission now and become part of the work I am doing through this message. My child, I want you to stay with me for a moment and look honestly at something that many people feel but rarely admit out loud. There are times in life when you suddenly notice that someone else has begun moving toward something you had quietly been considering yourself. You see another person stepping into an opportunity, starting a project, beginning a journey, or speaking the idea that once lived only in your own thoughts. When that happens, a strange feeling can rise inside you. It might feel like surprise at first. Then it may turn into a quiet disappointment that sits in your chest longer than you expect. You may start wondering whether you waited too long, whether the moment you sensed has already passed. I know you have felt that kind of moment before. You watched something unfold and realized that the first step could have been yours. I want you to listen closely now because what I am about to tell you will change the way you see those situations. The truth is that life often moves in quiet parallel paths. Many people may sense the same opportunity at the same time. Ideas travel through conversations, observations, and experiences that multiple people share. What makes the difference is not who notices the opportunity first, but who begins responding to it. When someone else starts moving sooner, it does not mean you lost your place or that the door was never meant for you. It simply means they chose action earlier. Yet here's the important part I want you to understand. Even when someone else begins moving first, your path does not disappear. Your journey is still open in front of you. What matters now is how you respond in the present moment rather than how you judge the past moment. Many people become stuck at this point because they allow comparison to freeze their motivation. They see another person moving forward and assume the opportunity is no longer theirs to pursue. They step back, believing the story has already been written without them. That belief is often untrue. Let me invite you to look at the situation differently. Instead of seeing another person's action as a signal that you missed your chance, view it as confirmation that the opportunity is real. Their movement simply proves that the path you sensed actually exists. The door you noticed was not your imagination. It was genuine. Someone else stepped through it because they chose to move. That truth should not discourage you. It should awaken your awareness even more. It should remind you that the opportunity you sense deserves your attention and your courage. When you see someone else beginning a journey you once considered, do not retreat into silence. Lean forward instead. Ask yourself what step you can take now. Begin exploring your own direction within that same space. There are often many ways to walk through a door. The first person may open it, but others can still enter through their own path if they are willing to move. Now I want to give you a practical invitation. The next time you notice someone moving ahead in a direction you once considered, do not immediately judge yourself. Instead, pause and ask yourself one question that can shift your entire mindset. Ask yourself whether their action is a signal inviting you to begin your own movement now. Instead of seeing their progress as a loss, treat it as confirmation that the path is real and worth exploring. Take a small step. Start the conversation you once delayed. Begin developing the idea you kept thinking about. Explore the opportunity with curiosity rather than regret. When you respond this way, comparison loses its power to paralyze you. A moment transforms from a reminder of hesitation into an invitation toward action. I want you to remember that your story is not written by watching what others do. Your story is written by the steps you choose to take next. Look forward. Move forward. Let the actions of others become signals that awaken your courage rather than shadows that dim your confidence. My child, before you take another step in this journey we are discussing together, I want you to pause and recognize something about yourself that you may not fully see yet. Inside you there is a kind of strength that developed quietly over time. It did not appear subtly in a dramatic moment. It grew slowly through experiences that tested your patience, challenged your understanding, and stretched your resilience. Every difficulty you faced contributed something to that strength. Each disappointment you survived added another layer to your ability to endure. Yet because this strength formed gradually, you may not recognize how powerful it has become. You carry it with you every day without fully noticing its presence. Think about the seasons you have already walked through. There were moments when you felt uncertain about how you would move forward. You may have faced situations where the path ahead looked confusing or discouraging. At times you probably wished that those moments would disappear quickly so life could return to something easier. Yet you continue walking through them one step at a time. You learned lessons from circumstances that once felt overwhelming. You discovered ways to adapt when things did not unfold according to your plans. Each of those experiences strengthened parts of you that could not have grown in comfortable conditions. When you look back carefully, you will see that the person you are today carries more resilience than the person you were in earlier seasons of your life. Now I want you to do something important. Instead of focusing only on the uncertainties that lie ahead, take a moment to remember the evidence of strength that already exists within you. Reflect on the times when you faced challenges that once seemed impossible. Notice how you navigated them step by step. Even when you did not feel confident at the beginning, you found ways to continue. Those experiences reveal something significant about you. They show that your ability to adapt and persevere is far greater than your doubts often suggest. When you carry that understanding into the decisions you are facing now, your perspective begins to change. Instead of asking whether you are strong enough to handle the next step, you begin to recognize that strength often reveals itself through the process of stepping forward. Let me invite you into a new way of seeing yourself. Imagine your life as a long path where each challenge has been like a stone placed beneath your feet. At the moment when each stone appeared, it may have felt like an obstacle blocking your way. But as you continued walking, those same stones became the foundation that helped you cross difficult terrain. Without them, the path would have been harder to navigate. The experiences that once frustrated you now form the ground beneath your confidence. They remind you that you have already overcome situations you once believed were too difficult. This is the quiet strength I want you to recognize. It does not need applause to exist. It does not depend on anyone else's approval. It lives within you as the result of the journey you have already traveled. So I want you to carry this awareness with you as we continue our conversation. When doubt begins whispering that you may not be ready for the opportunities appearing before you, remember the strength that has been forming within you for years. Let those memories remind you that growth often happens in ways you do not immediately notice. The resilience you developed through past experiences is now part of who you are. It travels with you into every new situation you face. Trust that strength. Allow it to guide your next step. When you move forward with that awareness, you begin seeing yourself not as someone who might fail, but as someone who has already proven the ability to rise through challenge and continue walking. My child, stay close to this moment with me because I want to speak honestly about something that many people do not understand until much later in their lives. There is a particular kind of weight that settles on a person's heart when they look back at their past and realize that certain opportunities were left untouched. I am not talking about the regret that comes from trying something and learning through failure. That kind of regret is light compared to another kind that grows heavier with time. The deeper regret appears when someone realizes that they never tried at all. It forms slowly when a person remembers the moments when they felt an inner pull to act but decided to wait instead. At the time, those decisions seemed harmless. The day continued normally. Nothing dramatic happened. Life moved on as usual. Yet years later, those quiet moments return to the mind like echoes from another room. The person begins to recognize that the opportunity they dismissed had the potential to lead somewhere meaningful. I want you to hear this truth now while you still stand inside the present moment, not years later when the past cannot be changed. Let me invite you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself many years from now looking back across the landscape of your life. You remember the places you visited, the people who walked beside you, and the decisions that shaped your path. Among those memories, there will be certain crossroads that stand out clearly. Some of them will be moments when you chose courage even though you felt uncertain. Those memories will carry a quiet sense of pride because you will know that you honored the opportunity placed before you. Other memories might involve times when hesitation held you in place. You will remember how you told yourself that the moment could wait. You believed another chance would appear later. In that future reflection, the question that may rise inside you will be simple yet powerful. What might have happened if I had taken that step when the opportunity first appeared? I want you to pause here and let that question sink into your awareness today. Feel the weight of it gently pressing against your heart. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken your sense of responsibility toward the present moment you are living right now. Now listen carefully to the invitation I am giving you. Do not treat the opportunities that appear before you as ordinary details that can be postponed without consequence. Instead, begin observing them with fresh attention. When an idea returns to your mind again and again, pause and explore it rather than dismissing it quickly. When you feel a quiet excitement about a possibility, lean closer to it instead of stepping back. When a conversation or invitation appears that could move your life in a new direction, consider responding to it with curiosity and courage. You do not need to rush blindly into every situation. What I want from you is awareness and willingness. Allow yourself to participate in the possibilities forming around you. When you do this, you transform the present moment into a field of opportunity instead of a place of hesitation. You become someone who engages with life rather than someone who watches life from a distance. There is another truth I want you to hold in your heart as you move forward from this moment. Your future self will thank you for the courage you choose today. Every step you take toward growth, learning, and meaningful experience adds something valuable to the story of your life. Even if the path does not unfold exactly as you imagined, the experience itself becomes part of your wisdom. You gain understanding that cannot be learned through observation alone. You meet people who shape your perspective. You discover abilities that remained hidden until you decided to use them. All of these things enrich your life in ways that hesitation never could. That is why I am encouraging you now. Do not wait until the future to recognize the importance of the moment you are living in today. Look at the opportunities in front of you. Listen to the quiet invitation within your heart. Take the step that moves you forward. When you do this, you protect yourself from the kind of regret that comes from wondering what might have been. My child, now that we have spoken about the cost of waiting too long, I want to turn your attention towards something hopeful that exists in your life right now. The moment you are living in is still open. The opportunity forming around you has not disappeared. The path ahead has not been closed. You are not standing outside a locked door wishing you had acted earlier. Instead, you are standing in front of a doorway that remains within reach. This is important for you to understand because many people allow discouragement to convince them that they are already too late. They assume that because they hesitated before, the opportunity must have vanished completely. That assumption often becomes a barrier that prevents them from seeing the possibilities still present around them. I want you to release that belief. You are not late. You are not behind. The window in front of you is still open, and the moment to move still exists. Let me guide your attention to the subtle ways this opportunity may appear in your life. It may not look dramatic or extraordinary when you first notice it. It might appear as a conversation that keeps returning to your mind. It might show up as an idea that refuses to leave your thoughts even when you try to focus on other things. It could arrive through a connection with someone who shares information that sparks your curiosity. These moments are often the quiet signals that a door is standing open nearby. Because they appear in simple forms, many people overlook them. They expect opportunities to arrive with loud announcements or clear instructions. Yet the most meaningful doors often appear quietly, waiting for someone to recognize their potential. I want you to begin looking at your life with this awareness. Pay attention to the small signals that point toward possibility. Now I want you to do something intentional with that awareness. When you notice an opportunity that seems meaningful, do not immediately tell yourself that it can wait for another day. Instead, pause and consider what step you could take right now to move closer to it. The step does not need to be large. Sometimes the most important action is simply beginning the conversation or exploring the idea further. Send the message you have been thinking about. Schedule the meeting you keep postponing. Begin researching the path you have been curious about. These actions may seem simple, yet they transform possibility into movement. They show that you are willing to engage with the opportunity rather than observing it from a distance. Let me remind you of something that can strengthen your confidence in this moment. You are not expected to know every detail of the journey before you begin. The path ahead will reveal itself gradually as you move forward. Each step you take creates new understanding that guides the next step. This is how progress naturally unfolds in life. If you wait for complete certainty before moving, you may remain in the same place far longer than necessary. But if you choose to act while the window remains open, you allow your life to expand in directions that waiting alone could never produce. So listen to my invitation carefully. Look at the door standing in front of you today. Notice that it has not closed. Recognize that you still have the ability to step forward. Take that step with courage. The window is open now, and your willingness to move will determine how far the opportunity can grow. My child, come closer for a moment and allow yourself to slow down. I want you to notice something that has been happening quietly inside you. You may not have spoken about it to anyone, but you have felt it. There are moments when a certain thought returns to your mind again and again. Sometimes it comes while you are busy with other things. Sometimes it appears when everything becomes quiet and your attention turns inward. You try to move on from it, yet it gently finds its way back into your awareness. I want you to understand that this kind of guidance rarely arrives with loud instructions. Instead, it moves softly through your thoughts, repeating itself just enough that you cannot completely ignore it. I am asking you now to take that inner signal seriously. Do not brush it away too quickly. Sit with it for a moment. Let it breathe in your awareness. Ask yourself what it might be inviting you to notice about your life right now. Think about how guidance has appeared in your life before. When you look back across the experiences that shaped you, you may remember times when you sensed a quiet direction even before the path became visible. Perhaps it felt like a calm nudge telling you to consider something more carefully. It might have been a moment when you suddenly felt drawn toward a conversation, an idea, or a decision that later proved meaningful. Those subtle signals were not accidents. They were the gentle ways your awareness was guiding you toward something important. Guidance often speaks through repetition rather than volume. A thought returns again and again because it carries significance that deserves your attention. When you dismiss it immediately, you close the door before fully exploring what it might reveal. When you stay with it and listen more deeply, the next step often becomes clearer. Now I want you to take a practical step with me. When a thought or idea continues returning to your mind, pause and give it space instead of rushing past it. Write it down. Reflect on what it might be pointed toward. Ask yourself what small action could help you explore it further. Maybe it means researching something that sparked your curiosity. Maybe it invites you to start a conversation you have been considering for a while. Maybe it suggests taking the first step toward an opportunity you once believed was too distant. You do not need to solve the entire journey in that moment. What matters is your willingness to respond to the guidance you feel instead of ignoring it. That response turns a quiet thought into the beginning of movement. Let me remind you of something important as you do this. Guidance rarely removes every uncertainty before you act. Instead, it illuminates the next step just enough for you to move forward. Imagine walking along a path at dusk with a small lantern in your hand. The lantern does not light the entire landscape at once. It simply shows the ground a few steps ahead of you. As you continue walking, the light moves with you, revealing more of the path. That is how guidance works in your life. You are not expected to see the entire future before taking action. You are only asked to trust the direction forming within your awareness and take the next step that becomes visible. So listen carefully to the signals rising inside you. Take them seriously. Let them guide your next movement. The more you trust that inner direction, the more clearly the path ahead will unfold. My child, there is something I want you to understand about the way progress begins in a person's life. When people imagine the moment that will change their future, they often picture something dramatic. They expect a grand decision, a powerful speech, or a bold action that instantly transforms everything. Yet the truth is much quieter than that. Most meaningful change begins with a single, simple step that almost seems too small to matter. The step might be a conversation you finally begin. It might be a message you send after thinking about it for weeks. It could even be the moment when you decide to start learning something new. From the outside, that step may look insignificant. Yet inside that small movement lies the beginning of a chain reaction that can lead to remarkable change. I want you to pause and consider how many great journeys began exactly this way. Every path, no matter how long or important, starts with one step taken from a place of stillness. That first step does not need to be perfect. It does not need to carry every answer. Its purpose is simply to begin the movement that allows the next step to appear. When you take that first action, something subtle shifts in your life. The world around you begins responding to your movement. Opportunities that once seemed distant start becoming visible. Conversations begin opening doors you did not notice before. Each small action builds momentum that slowly carries you further along the path. None of this happens while you remain standing still. It begins only when you decide to move. Now I want to invite you into a very practical way of approaching this moment. Instead of thinking about everything that could happen months or years from now, bring your attention back to the present step in front of you. Ask yourself what small action you can take today that moves you closer to the direction you have been sensing. Do not wait for the perfect plan. Start with something simple. Send the message you have been delaying. Research the idea that continues appearing in your thoughts. Speak with someone who may understand the opportunity better than you do. Each of these actions may appear ordinary, yet they create the movement that allows greater possibilities to emerge. Let me share an image that may help you see this clearly. Imagine a large door that has been standing closed for a long time. From where you are standing, it may appear heavy and difficult to open. Yet sometimes the door is not locked at all. It simply needs a gentle push to begin moving. The first motion may be small, almost quiet, but once the door starts opening, the rest of the movement becomes easier. Opportunities in life often work the same way. The first step may feel uncertain, but once you begin moving, the path starts revealing itself. That is why I am encouraging you now, do not underestimate the power of a simple beginning. The step you take today could be the very movement that starts opening doors you once believed were unreachable. My child, sit with me for a moment and listen carefully, because this part of your journey requires a quiet shift inside your heart. I have watched you think deeply about the steps in front of you. You care about doing things well. You want your actions to reflect wisdom, integrity, and responsibility. Those qualities are beautiful, and I am proud of the care you bring to your decisions. Yet I see something else happening beneath the surface of your thoughts. Sometimes the desire to do something well slowly transforms into the pressure to do it perfectly. You begin imagining how the outcome must look before you allow yourself to begin. You picture the mistakes that could happen. You analyze the ways things might go wrong. By the time you finish examining every possibility, the step that once looked simple begins to feel heavy and complicated. I want you to pause here and breathe with me for a moment. Let the pressure you have placed on yourself loosen its grip. You do not need perfection to begin moving forward. Think about how growth actually happens in the real world. Every skill you admire in someone else began as an imperfect attempt. A person who learned to speak with confidence once stumbled through uncertain conversation. The person who became skilled at their craft once produced work that was rough and incomplete. The person who eventually built something meaningful in their life once stood exactly where you are now, wondering whether they were ready to begin. Progress does not arrive fully formed. It develops through practice, adjustment, and patience. I want you to look at your own life through that lens. Remember the things you can do today that once felt unfamiliar or difficult. There was a time when you did not know how to handle those situations. You learned through experience. You tried, adjusted, learned again, and slowly improved. That same process will guide you through the opportunity standing in front of you now. You are not expected to step forward with flawless knowledge. You are invited to step forward with willingness. Now listen closely to the invitation I am placing before you. When the thought of imperfection begins whispering that you should wait a little longer, challenge that voice gently. Remind yourself that movement is the teacher that reveals understanding. Every attempt you make becomes a lesson that strengthens your ability to continue. When you allow imperfection to exist within the learning process, something liberating begins to happen. Your mind becomes curious instead of fearful. Instead of asking whether you will fail, you begin asking what you can discover through the experience. This shift in perspective changes everything. You stop measuring your value through flawless outcomes and start recognizing your growth through the courage to engage with life. That courage opens doors that perfectionism would keep closed. Let me offer you a simple practice you can begin using right now. When you notice hesitation rising because you fear making a mistake, pause and ask yourself a different question. Instead of asking whether the step will be perfect, ask what you might learn by taking it. This question turns the focus of your attention toward discovery rather than judgment. It gives you permission to move forward with curiosity instead of anxiety. Each step becomes an experiment that reveals something new. Some steps will confirm that you are moving in the right direction. Others will show you where adjustments are needed. Both outcomes serve your growth. I want you to carry this understanding with you as you approach the opportunities appearing in your life. Release the expectation of perfection. Allow yourself to learn through action. When you embrace that freedom, the path ahead becomes less intimidating and far more alive with possibility. My child, just as I have asked you to release the fear of imperfection and step forward in courage, I am placing another step before your heart in this moment. Some of you are feeling the quiet desire to help this message reach more people, yet you wonder if what you give is enough. Hear me clearly. The smallest seed placed in my hands becomes a harvest of transformation. Did I not say in 2 Corinthians 9:7 that each one should give what they have decided in their heart, not reluctantly, but with joy? When you send a super thanks, join the membership, or place a donation through the PayPal link in the description, you are pouring oil into a lamp that keeps my word burning before the nations. Through your obedience, rivers of encouragement begin flowing into lives that feel forgotten and alone. I see every seed, and I promise that what is given for my purpose returns with favor, provision, and protection upon your path. This moment is not about perfection. It is about willingness. So if you feel my spirit stirring your heart, do not silence that prompting. Step forward now and support this mission I have placed before you. My child, I want you to notice something remarkable about the way strength develops in a person's life. Many people believe that strength must exist fully before they begin moving toward something new. They imagine confidence as a requirement that must be satisfied before taking the first step. Yet the deeper truth is quite different. Strength often reveals itself only after movement begins. It waits quietly beneath the surface until you give it a reason to rise. When you take that first step into unfamiliar territory, something inside you begins to awaken. Your attention sharpens. Your creativity becomes more active. Your mind starts searching for solutions rather than reasons to remain still. What once felt intimidating begins to look manageable as you continue moving forward. Think about the way you learned many of the abilities you already possess today. At the beginning, you probably felt unsure about what you were doing. The first attempts may have been slow or awkward. You may have questioned whether you would ever become comfortable with the process. Yet you continue practicing. Each attempt taught you something new. Over time, the actions that once required intense concentration began to feel natural. The same principle applies to the opportunities forming in your life now. The confidence you are waiting to feel will not appear fully formed before you act. It will grow gradually as you engage with the experience. The first step may feel uncertain, but the second step will feel slightly easier because you have already begun learning. The third step becomes clearer because the path is revealing itself through your actions. Now I want to invite you to visualize something that can help you understand this transformation. Imagine a seed resting quietly in the soil. From the outside it appears small and inactive. Yet within that seed exists the potential for something far greater. The seed does not grow while it remains untouched on the surface. Growth begins when it enters the soil and responds to the environment around it. The same principle exists within you. The strength you are searching for is already present inside your character. It simply needs the environment of action to begin unfolding. When you take the first step toward an opportunity, you place yourself in the conditions where that hidden strength can emerge. Each challenge becomes like sunlight and water nourishing the growth that has been waiting within you. So here is the invitation I want you to accept. When you feel uncertain about your ability to handle what lies ahead, remind yourself that strength often appears during the journey rather than before it. Do not wait for complete confidence before you begin. Step forward with the understanding that growth will accompany your movement. Allow the experience itself to develop the abilities you need. Every situation you engage with will teach you something valuable. Some lessons will arrive easily, while others will stretch your patience and determination. All of them will contribute to the strength forming inside you. When you look back later, you will recognize that the courage to take the first step was the moment when everything began to change. My child, before you take another step forward, I want you to pause and remember something that changes the way every journey feels. You are not walking alone. I know that sometimes life can make you feel as if every decision rests entirely on your shoulders. You look at the path in front of you, and it seems like you must carry every responsibility, every uncertainty, every outcome by yourself. That feeling can become heavy. It can make even a simple step look intimidating. But I want you to slow down and breathe with me for a moment. Let your thoughts settle. Now listen closely to what I am telling you. From the beginning of your life until this very moment, you have never been alone on the road you are walking. I have been beside you through every chapter. Even during the seasons when you thought you were moving forward without guidance, my presence was closer than you realized. I watched the decisions you made, the struggles you face, the courage you gathered when things felt difficult. I walked with you through experiences that shaped the person you are today. Think about the moments in your past when you felt overwhelmed by a situation you did not know how to handle. At the beginning of those moments, you probably wondered whether you would find a way through them. Yet step by step, somehow you continued moving forward. A solution appeared, or a conversation changed the direction of the situation, or an unexpected opportunity provided the help you needed. When you look back now, those moments may seem less mysterious because the outcome is already clear. But while you were living through them, you did not know how everything would unfold. The strength that carried you through those times was not something you created alone. My guidance was present in ways you may not have noticed. Sometimes it appeared through an idea that suddenly made sense. Sometimes it arrived through the encouragement of another person. Sometimes it came as a quiet sense of peace that allowed you to keep moving when your mind felt uncertain. Now I want you to carry that awareness into the decision standing before you today. The step you are considering does not require you to face the future by yourself. I am walking with you as you move. My presence does not remove every challenge from your path, but it provides the support you need as you navigate them. When you remember this, something inside you begins to relax. The pressure to control every detail of the outcome starts to fade. Instead of trying to solve the entire journey in advance, you become willing to move forward step by step, trusting that guidance will continue to appear along the way. I want you to hold that trust in your heart. It will make the path ahead feel less like a test you must pass and more like a journey you are invited to explore. So here is what I want you to do now. When you feel hesitation rising because the road ahead looks uncertain, pause and remind yourself that you are not facing that uncertainty alone. Speak to me. Ask for clarity when your mind feels confused. Take a moment to listen quietly for the thoughts and insights that follow. Guidance often arrives in simple forms that become clear only when you allow space for them. Do not rush past those moments. Let them settle into your awareness. The more you practice this kind of attention, the easier it becomes to recognize the direction forming in front of you. As you continue walking, you will begin to see how each step leads naturally to the next. And with every step you will remember the truth that strengthens your courage. You are not walking alone. My child, there is something important about the way life reveals its meaning that I want you to understand before we continue. When you are standing inside a moment, you rarely see the entire story that moment belongs to. Your perspective is limited to the present situation and the thoughts moving through your mind right now. Because of that limited view, it can sometimes feel difficult to trust the direction you are considering. You may wonder whether the step you are about to take will truly lead somewhere meaningful. You might wish you could see years into the future so you could know exactly how everything will unfold. I understand that desire. Yet the journey of life does not work that way. The larger picture of your path becomes clear only when you look back at it after time has passed. Think about the experiences that once seemed confusing when you first encountered them. There may have been moments when you questioned why certain opportunities appeared or why certain challenges entered your life. At the time, those situations may have felt disconnected from each other. You could not see how they related to the direction you were moving. But when you look back now, you may notice connections that were invisible before. A conversation that once seemed small may have led you to a new opportunity later. A difficulty that once felt frustrating may have strengthened a skill that became valuable in another situation. The pieces of your life often fit together in ways that only become visible after you have walked further along the path. What looked uncertain in the moment becomes meaningful in hindsight. Now I want you to consider how this understanding applies to the decision standing before you today. Right now you are looking at the step ahead with limited information. That is normal. No one sees the entire future while standing at the beginning of a new path. But the fact that you cannot see the entire journey does not mean the step lacks purpose. Many meaningful experiences begin with a decision that seems small at first. The full significance of that decision becomes clear only later when you see how it connected to other opportunities along the way. That is why I want you to focus less on predicting the entire outcome and more on recognizing the value of the present step. If the opportunity in front of you carries curiosity, growth, or potential, that is often enough reason to explore it. So let me invite you to approach this moment with a different perspective. Instead of asking whether you can see the entire future before taking action, ask whether the step in front of you aligns with the direction you feel drawn toward. If the answer feels meaningful, give yourself permission to begin moving. The clarity you seek will often appear only after you take the first steps. New information will reveal itself through experience. New connections will emerge as you continue walking. One opportunity will lead naturally to another. Over time, you will begin to see how the pieces of your life fit together in ways that once seemed impossible to predict. When you reach that point in the future and look back at this moment, you may recognize it as the place where an important chapter began. What feels like uncertainty today may become the starting line of something meaningful tomorrow. That is why I am encouraging you now. Trust the step in front of you even if you cannot see the entire road. The bigger picture will reveal itself in time, and when it does, you will understand why this moment mattered. My child, come closer and listen with patience, because what I want to show you now is something that has been forming inside you quietly for a long time. You may not have noticed it clearly yet, because confidence rarely appears as a loud announcement. It does not always arrive as a dramatic moment where everything suddenly becomes certain. Instead, it grows slowly beneath the surface of your life, shaped by the experiences you have already walked through. Every challenge you endured, every decision you faced, every situation that required you to adapt has been strengthening something inside your character. Even the moments when you felt unsure were part of that growth. They forced you to think, to learn, and to continue moving even when you did not feel completely prepared. That process had been building a kind of quiet confidence within you, one that does not depend on appearances or approval from others. Think about the person you were several years ago. Remember how certain situations once felt overwhelming or unfamiliar. At that time you may have believed that you would never feel comfortable navigating those challenges. Yet you faced them anyway. Sometimes you handled them well, and sometimes you learned through mistakes. But the important thing is that you continued moving forward. Each experience added another layer of understanding to your perspective. Each lesson refined your judgment. When you look at your life now, you may realize that situations which once seemed intimidating no longer carry the same power over you. That shift is evidence of the confidence that has been quietly growing inside you. It did not appear overnight. It developed through patience and persistence. Now I want you to pay attention to something happening in your heart at this moment. Even while doubt occasionally whispers questions about the future, another voice has begun speaking more clearly. It is softer than doubt but steadier. That voice reminds you that you are capable of learning whatever the next step requires. It encourages you to explore opportunities instead of retreating from them. You may have noticed this voice when you imagine taking the step we have been discussing. Part of you feels nervous, yet another part feels a sense of possibility. That mixture of emotion is not a sign of weakness. It is often the sign that growth is about to happen. Confidence does not remove uncertainty entirely. It simply gives you enough stability to keep moving even while questions remain. So here is what I want you to do with that growing confidence. Acknowledge it. Do not dismiss it as imagination. Let it become part of the way you see yourself. When you notice the thought that you might be capable of more than you previously believe it, pause and allow that thought to expand instead of pushing it away. Speak to yourself with honesty about the strength you have developed. Remind yourself of the situations you have already navigated successfully. These reminders are not acts of pride. They are acknowledgments of the growth that has taken place in your life. When you carry this awareness into your decisions, you approach opportunities differently. Instead of asking whether you will fail, you begin asking what you can accomplish if you commit yourself to the process. Let me invite you to take one more step in this reflection. Picture the opportunities appearing in your life not as tests you must pass perfectly, but as invitations to use the confidence that has already been forming within you. Each opportunity becomes a place where your abilities can continue growing. Each decision becomes a chance to practice the wisdom you have gained. The more you respond to these invitations, the stronger your confidence becomes. It evolves from a quiet feeling into a steady foundation that supports your actions. That is why I want you to trust what you are sensing inside yourself right now. A quiet confidence growing within you is not an illusion. It is the natural result of the journey you have already traveled. Allow it to guide your next step and watch how it continues expanding as you move forward. My child, let us pause again and look carefully at the moment you are living in right now. It may appear ordinary when you observe it through the routines of daily life. The same responsibilities fill your schedule. The same surroundings greet you when you wake up each morning. Yet within this ordinary setting there exists a moment that carries more significance than you might initially recognize. Life often hides its most important turning points within quiet situations. They do not arrive with dramatic announcements or unmistakable signals. Instead, they appear as simple opportunities to choose a direction. The importance of those choices becomes clear only later when you look back and see how they shaped everything that followed. Think about the moments in history when someone made a decision that changed the course of their life. Many of those moments began quietly. A person accepted an invitation to explore a new path. Someone decided to speak to a stranger who later became an important partner in their journey. Another individual began learning a skill that eventually opened doors they never expected. At the time, those decisions seemed small compared to the events that followed. Yet each of them represented the starting point of something larger. The significance of the moment did not lie in its appearance, but in the direction it introduced. That is why I want you to pay attention to the opportunities forming around you today. What looks simple now may be the beginning of something far more meaningful than you realize. Now listen closely to the invitation I am giving you. Do not drift through this season without recognizing the potential hidden within it. Instead, begin observing your life with intention. Notice the conversations that spark your curiosity. Pay attention to the ideas that return to your thoughts repeatedly. Look carefully at the opportunities that appear in front of you, even if they seem modest at first. These moments may represent doors that lead to new directions. They may introduce you to experiences that strengthen your abilities and expand your perspective. When you approach life with this level of awareness, the present moment becomes far more valuable than it once appeared. You begin seeing possibilities that others overlook because they are too distracted to notice them. Let me invite you to imagine something for a moment. Picture yourself looking back on this season of your life several years from now. In that future reflection, you will see the decisions that shaped your journey. You will remember the moment when you chose whether to step forward or remain where you were. If you respond to the opportunity before you with courage, that memory will carry a sense of gratitude. You will recognize that you honored the moment rather than ignoring it. But if you dismiss the opportunity without exploring it, you may find yourself wondering what might have happened if you had responded differently. I want you to avoid that uncertainty by choosing awareness and action today. So take this moment seriously, my child. Not with fear, but with intention. Look at the step in front of you and consider what it might lead to if you give it your attention. Approach the opportunity with curiosity rather than hesitation. Begin moving in the direction that feels meaningful to you. The moment you are living in matters more than you might realize right now. When you treat it with care and courage, it can become the starting point of something remarkable in your life. My child, come and sit quietly with me for a moment because I want to speak gently into something that has been exhausting your mind. I see how deeply you think about the choices in front of you. You examine possibilities from every angle. You imagine what could go right, what might go wrong, and how each decision could affect the path ahead of you. Your mind has been working hard, turning over the same questions again and again, hoping that if you think long enough, the perfect answer will eventually appear. That desire for clarity is understandable. You want to make wise decisions. You want to avoid unnecessary mistakes. Yet I want you to notice something important about the pattern that has formed inside your thoughts. The more you analyze the same question repeatedly, the heavier the decision begins to feel. What once looked like a simple step starts to appear complicated because your mind has surrounded it with layers of imagined outcomes. Overthinking does not always bring wisdom. Sometimes it quietly drains your energy and makes movement seem harder than it truly is. Take a moment now and breathe slowly. Let your thoughts settle like water becoming calm after a stone has been dropped into it. When the surface becomes still, clarity begins to appear naturally. That is the state I want you to reach when you approach the opportunity before you. Instead of forcing your mind to produce the perfect answer through endless analysis, allow yourself to recognize the guidance already present within you. You have spent enough time reflecting. You have gathered more understanding than you realize. Continuing to analyze the same question will not suddenly reveal a completely new insight. The next piece of clarity you seek will arrive through experience rather than thought. That is why I am inviting you to shift your approach right now. Release the pressure to solve everything in your mind before you move. Give yourself permission to discover the answers while you are walking the path. Now listen carefully to the invitation I am placing before you. When you notice your thoughts circling the same question again and again, gently interrupt that cycle. Instead of asking your mind for more analysis, ask yourself what small action could move you closer to understanding the situation in real life. Maybe the next step is simply starting the conversation you have been imagining. Maybe it means exploring the opportunity directly instead of speculating about it from a distance. Action has a remarkable way of dissolving the fog created by overthinking. When you begin moving, your attention shifts from imagining possibilities to observing real outcomes. The experience itself teaches you what your mind could never fully predict. Let me show you why this matters so much. Overthinking often disguises itself as preparation, but in reality it can become a barrier that keeps you standing still. Imagine standing at the edge of a path while studying a detailed map. You examine every symbol on the page, trying to understand exactly where the road will lead. Yet no matter how long you study the map, it will never show you the true feeling of walking that path. The only way to understand the journey is to begin taking steps along it. When you walk, you feel the ground beneath your feet. You see the landscape changing around you. You encounter details that could never appear on the map alone. In the same way, the decision before you cannot be fully understood through thought alone. Its meaning will reveal itself through movement. So here is what I want you to do starting today. Notice when your mind begins returning to the same questions repeatedly. Instead of allowing the cycle to continue, pause and take a breath. Acknowledge that you have already thought about the situation enough to begin exploring it in real life. Then choose one small action that moves you forward. That action might be simple, but its impact will be powerful because it breaks the pattern of hesitation. Each step you take will bring fresh information, new perspective, and deeper clarity. Over time, you will see how much lighter your mind feels when you stop carrying the entire decision inside your thoughts. Movement replaces mental pressure with living experience. My child, I want you to carry this truth with you. Your mind was never meant to hold the entire future inside its imagination. Its purpose is to guide your awareness toward the next step. Once that step becomes clear, release the burden of overthinking and begin walking. The path ahead will reveal itself through the journey you take, not through the endless questions you ask while standing still. My child, we have walked through many reflections together, and now we arrive at a moment that deserves your full attention. The step in front of you is not only about a single opportunity. It represents the direction of the next chapter in your life. Every chapter begins with a decision that shapes what follows. When you choose a direction, you begin inviting certain experiences into your future while leaving others behind. This is the quiet power of choice. The decisions you make today slowly form the environment where your life will unfold tomorrow. That is why I want you to approach this moment with awareness and intention. Look at your life as if it were a story still being written. The pages that came before this moment contain lessons, challenges, and discoveries that shaped the person you are now. Those chapters prepared you for the decisions standing before you today. Everything you have experienced up to this point has contributed something to your understanding. You have learned what matters most to you. You have discovered what kind of work brings meaning to your days. You have seen how certain choices create growth while others lead to frustration. All of that knowledge now rests inside you, ready to guide the next chapter of your story. The question before you is not whether the future will unfold. It will continue moving forward regardless. The real question is whether you will choose the direction intentionally or allow circumstances to choose it for you. Now I want you to imagine something powerful. Picture your life several years from now as if you are standing on a hill looking back across the landscape of time. You see the path you walked and the decisions that shaped it. Among those decisions there will be one that stands out clearly. It will be the moment when you decided to move forward with courage instead of remaining where you were. From that decision, a chain of events began to unfold. New experiences appeared. New relationships entered your life. Opportunities connected together in ways you could not have predicted. A single step became the beginning of a chapter filled with growth and discovery. When you look back at that moment in the future, you will recognize how significant it was, even though it looked simple at the time. I want you to bring that vision into the present moment right now. Feel the possibility it contains. This is your opportunity to choose the direction of the next chapter before it begins writing itself. Instead of drifting into the future through hesitation, you can step forward with intention. That does not mean you must control every detail of what will happen next. Life rarely unfolds according to a perfect script, but you can choose the direction you want to explore. You can decide to move toward the opportunities that spark your curiosity and align with your values. The choice alone carries enormous power because it positions you in places where growth becomes possible. So here is the invitation I want you to accept. Do not treat this moment as if it were ordinary. Recognize that you are standing at the threshold of a new chapter. Look carefully at the direction that calls to your heart. When you feel that quiet sense of possibility rising inside you, honor it. Take the step that moves you closer to the future you want to experience. Trust that each decision you make with intention becomes a sentence in the story of your life. And as those sentences come together, they form a chapter filled with purpose, discovery, and growth. My child, we have walked through many thoughts together, and now we arrive at the moment where everything we have discussed gently points toward one simple truth. A step is waiting for you. Not tomorrow, not someday when circumstances feel easier, but now, while the door is still open in front of you. I want you to slow down and feel the weight of that moment in a calm and steady way. You have listened, reflected, and considered the possibilities forming around you. You have seen how hesitation can quietly hold a person in the same place while time continues moving forward. You have recognized the strength that has been growing within you and the opportunities that still remain within reach. All of these reflections lead to one clear invitation. It is time to move. I am not asking you for a dramatic leap that changes everything overnight. I am asking you for a deliberate step that begins the movement you have been thinking about for so long. Take a breath and imagine yourself standing at the edge of a doorway. Behind you are the familiar routines that have shaped your life up to this point. You know this space well. It feels predictable and safe because you have walked through it many times before. In front of you is another room that you have only glimpsed from a distance. You cannot see every detail inside it yet, but you sense that something meaningful may be waiting there. The doorway between these two spaces represents the decision before you right now. Remaining where you are will keep everything exactly as it has been. Stepping forward will introduce new experiences that you cannot fully predict today. That uncertainty may feel uncomfortable for a moment, but it also carries the potential for discovery and growth. I want you to notice something important about this doorway. It is open right now. You are not locked out. You are not too late. The path forward is still available to you. Now listen closely to the invitation I am giving you. Do not allow this moment to pass quietly while you continue waiting for perfect clarity. The clarity you are seeking will appear through the journey itself. When you step forward, your understanding will expand naturally. New insights will appear through conversations, experiences, and lessons that could never exist while you remain standing still. I want you to take one practical action that moves you toward the opportunity we have been discussing. Begin the conversation that has been lingering in your thoughts. Explore the idea that keeps returning to your mind. Send the message you have been hesitating to write. Start learning the skill that has been quietly calling your attention. These actions may appear small from the outside, yet they hold the power to change the direction of your life. Every journey begins with a single step taken in the present moment. Let me remind you again that you are not facing this step alone. I am with you as you move forward. My guidance will continue to appear through the people you meet, the insights that form in your mind, and the experiences that shape your understanding. When uncertainty rises, pause and listen. When a new opportunity appears, consider it carefully. Allow the process to unfold naturally instead of demanding immediate perfection from yourself. Each step will teach you something valuable. Some lessons will encourage you to continue in the same direction. Others will help you adjust your path in ways that lead to better outcomes. Both kinds of experiences are part of the growth that awaits you on the other side of this doorway. So here is what I want you to do now, my child. Do not leave this moment as a reflection that fades into the background of your day. Turn it into action. Decide on the step you will take today. Make it real. Write it down if you need to. Speak it aloud if that helps you commit to it. Then move forward and begin. The path will not reveal itself all at once, but it will unfold as you walk it. The opportunities you have been sensing will become clearer through your participation. And when you look back at this moment in the future, you will recognize it as the place where everything began to shift. My child, you have heard my voice calling you to take a step while the door is still open, and now I reveal another step that carries eternal impact. Across this world there are hearts waiting for the very words you have just heard, souls searching for hope in the darkness. When you choose to support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering through the link in the description, you become a vessel through which my word travels further than you can imagine. Remember what I declared in Luke 6:38. Give, and it will be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Your gift becomes a seed, and I breathe upon it until it grows into a harvest of changed lives. This is not a small act. It is a divine appointment I am placing before you right now. The same courage I asked you to show in your life can also become light for countless others who need guidance today. If you feel the fire of the calling within you, know that it is my hand inviting you into this work. So take the step without delay. Support this message now, and help my word reach the souls that are waiting. And once you have taken that step, let your heart grow still and attentive. What you have responded to has already begun to sharpen your spirit. Obedience does not end with action. It prepares you to perceive what is shifting around you. This is the moment where faith awakens discernment, where you begin to notice what others overlook. So pause and listen closely, because what you have been sensing is not imagination. It is a real shift unfolding. My child, I need you to stop for a moment and truly listen. I am reaching out to you because the very air around you is shifting, and I need your spirit to be as sharp as a blade. You have felt it, haven't you? That restless tug in your soul, that quiet sense that the world you woke up in yesterday is not the same one you are standing in today. I am telling you now, do not ignore that feeling. You are entering a season where the atmosphere is thick with change, and if you remain in a state of spiritual slumber, you will miss the very doors I am opening for you. I see you going through the motions of your day, distracted by the glare of your phone and the endless noise of your responsibilities. But I am calling you to wake up. I am your Father, and I am signaling to you that the harvest is ripe right now, not next month or next year. You cannot afford to keep your eyes closed while the opportunities I have prepared for you are passing by. I want you to identify the lie that tomorrow is a safe place to wait. You often tell yourself that you will seek me more when the kids are older, or when the job is less demanding, or when you finally feel ready. I am telling you that tomorrow is the greatest thief of your divine destiny. It is a desert where nothing grows and no promises are kept. You must choose to move now. I see the subtle whispers of distraction that are creeping into your mind. Those small, seemingly harmless thoughts that tell you to just scroll a little longer or worry a little more about things you cannot control. These are not just distractions. They are the seeds of walls the enemy is trying to build between your heart and my voice. I'm asking you to tear them down before they become fortresses of isolation. You are living in a prophetic hour, a midnight moment where the light of my spirit is searching for those who are actually awake. You must tune the frequency of your heart to my Holy Spirit right this second. Think of it like a radio. If you are tuned to the world's static, you will only hear fear, chaos, and doubt. I want you to turn the dial until my whisper is the clearest sound in your life. I am warning you because I love you. I see the traps that have been set for your feet, and I see the way the world is trying to lull you into a deep, dangerous sleep. You might feel like you have plenty of time, but I am the God of time, and I am telling you the clock is ticking. You are not here by accident. You were chosen for this specific moment in history to be a light, but a light that is flickering in a drowse cannot guide anyone. I will give you the strength to stand alert, but you must make the decision to open your eyes. I am declaring over you today that your period of wandering in a fog is over. I will sharpen your discernment so that you can see through the smoke and mirrors of the enemy's deceptions. You are my precious one, and I do not want to see you caught off guard by the shifts in this world. I am inviting you to step into a place of high alert peace, a state where you are completely calm because you are completely aware of my presence. You can feel the weight of this moment, can't you? That is my hand on your shoulder, urging you to look up. I will be your guide through every change, but I need your full attention. Do not let the slumber of the soul rob you of the crown I have prepared for you. I am with you, and I am calling you forward. Wake up, my child. Your season is here. My beloved, I want you to look around at the world you live in and notice how it tries to consume every inch of your attention. It is a loud, chaotic place, and if you are not careful, the noise of the world will drown out the rhythm of my heart within you. I am calling you right now to build a fortress of prayer, not a religious ritual, but a spiritual stronghold that no adversary can scale. You need a place where the doors are shut and the world is locked out. Do you feel the pressure of the bills, the tension in your marriage, or the weight of that secret fear you haven't told anyone about? I see it all. I want you to bring those things into the sanctuary of my presence. I am inviting you to silence the noise, to turn off the screens, and to simply be still with me. You cannot hear my instructions when you are constantly listening to the opinions of people who don't even know your true name. I am your Father, and I have specific blueprints for your life that can only be handed to you in the secret place. I am commanding you to cleanse your heart from the lingering dust of your past failures. You carry those old mistakes like a heavy coat in the middle of summer, and they are slowing you down. Let them go. I have already forgiven you, so why do you insist on punishing yourself? I want you to establish a daily altar where my presence becomes as necessary to you as the oxygen you breathe. When you wake up, do not reach for your phone first, reach for me. When the day gets hard, do not reach for a distraction, reach for me. An unguarded mind is nothing more than a playground for the enemy to plant seeds of doubt and despair. If you do not fill your mind with my truth, the world will fill it with its lies. I am asking you for yes that is settled before the test even arrives. I want your commitment to me to be so firm that when the storms of life hit, you don't even have to think about which way to turn. You will already be standing in the center of my peace. I promise you that as you secure this inner sanctuary, I will become your refuge and your strength. I will hide you under the shadow of my wings where the arrows of the enemy cannot reach you. You are my precious child, and I want to protect the peace of your mind. I see the late nights when you lie awake wondering how things will work out. I'm telling you now, stop trying to figure it out on your own. Bring it to the altar. Let my presence settle the shaking in your hands and the racing in your heart. I am building something in you that the world cannot take away, but it requires your participation. You must be the one to shut the door. You must be the one to invite me in. I am standing at the door of your heart, knocking, waiting for you to create a space where we can truly speak. Come away with me, my child. Let's build your fortress together. My child, I want to talk to you about the weight you are carrying in your spirit, the bitterness that has started to grow in the corners of your heart. I see the person who hurt you, the one who betrayed your trust, and the one who spoke lies behind your back. I know how much it's done, but I am calling you to do something radical. I want you to release that bitterness right now, before it takes root and poisons your entire future. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It is about refusing to let their sin control your life. I am telling you that forgiving others is your greatest tactical advantage. When you hold on to a grudge, you are essentially drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. I don't want that for you. I want you to be free. I am asking you to break the chains of resentment that the enemy is planning to use against you in the next season. He wants to use your pain as an anchor to keep you stuck in the past, but I am using my grace to propel you into your destiny. I am inviting you to experience the incredible freedom found in letting go of debts you were never meant to collect. You are not the judge of the world. I am. When you try to play the judge, you take on a burden that is too heavy for your shoulders. I want you to hand those people over to me. I can handle them much better than you can. I am commanding you to choose love as a proactive weapon against the spirit of offense. Do not wait for them to apologize. Do not wait for them to realize what they did. Forgive them now. Make it a preemptive strike. By the time the arrow of their malice reaches you, let it find a heart that is already shielded by my grace. This is how you mirror my heart. I forgave you while you were still far away from me, and I am asking you to do the same for those who have stumbled against you. I declare that as you release these people, a weight will lift off your chest that you didn't even realize you were carrying. I will heal the places where they wounded you, and I will fill those empty spots with my joy. I see the unspoken tensions in your family, and the way you've been holding on to that one argument from years ago. Let it go. It is a thief. It is stealing your sleep and your happiness. I am your provider, and I will restore everything the enemy tried to take through that offense. You are my beloved, and I want your heart to be light and clear. Breathe in my presence and let out the breath of forgiveness. Do not let the sun go down on your anger another day. I am giving you the power to love the unlovable because I first love you. Walk in that power today. My child, listen closely to the sounds coming out of your mouth. I have given you a gift that is more powerful than you realize, the power of your words. I am calling you to start speaking life over your household, over your body, and over your future before the storm clouds even have a chance to gather. Your tongue has a creative power that I place there because you are made in my image. When you speak, you are shaping the environment around you. If you speak fear, you invite fear. If you speak lack, you invite lack. But if you speak my promises, you invite my power. I am commanding you to refuse to echo the complaints of the faithless people around you. Do not let your conversations be filled with the same doom and gloom that the world feeds on. You are a citizen of my kingdom, and your language should reflect your home. I want you to use my word as a preemptive strike against fear. When the thought comes that you won't have enough, I want you to declare out loud, "My God shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory." When the thought comes that you are a failure, I want you to say, "I am more than a conqueror through him who loved me." Your words carry weight in the courts of heaven. When you say amen to my promises, it is like a legal seal being placed on a document. I am inviting you to use scripture like a scalpel. Use it to cut away the lies that the accuser has tried to graft onto your soul. He tells you that you'll never change, that you will always be stuck in this cycle. I tell you that you are a new creation. Which voice will you agree with? I want you to agree with me. I am promising you that as you change your words, you will see your world begin to change. I will back up the words you speak in faith because they are aligned with my will. I see the pressure at your job and the way you feel overlooked. Stop saying I'll never get ahead. Instead, start saying my Father opens doors that no man can shut. I want you to speak to the mountains in your life and tell them to move. Don't just talk about the mountain, talk to it. I have given you the authority, but you must use it. Your voice is a weapon in the spirit realm. Do not leave it lying on the ground. Pick it up and speak with the boldness of a child who knows their Father is the King of the universe. I am listening for your voice, and I am ready to move on your behalf. Speak life, my precious one. My child, I have planted dreams and visions deep within the soil of your heart, and I am calling you to be a faithful steward of those seeds. I see the things you've whispered to me in the middle of the night, the desires for a business, a ministry, a healed family, or a life of purpose. Those didn't come from you. They came from me. But I want to warn you. You must protect those seeds from the dream stealers. Not everyone is qualified to hear what I am doing in you. I am teaching you the wisdom of keeping silent until the vision is fully formed. Sometimes, when you share a seed too early, the skepticism of others can act like a frost that kills the growth. I want you to guard what I've given you with a holy jealousy. Invest your time in eternal pursuits before the day is spent. Don't give your best energy to things that don't matter and then give me the leftovers of your day. I want you to recognize the value of the small things I have placed in your hand right now. You are waiting for the big breakthrough, but I am looking at how you handle the small tasks. How are you treating the person at the grocery store? How are you managing the little bit of money you have? How are you spending your quiet moments? These are the seeds of your future. I am commanding you to feed your faith so that your doubts will eventually starve to death. What you focus on is what will grow. If you focus on your problems, they will seem like giants. If you focus on my greatness, your problems will shrink. I am calling you to the discipline of consistency in the secret place of growth. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. It takes time, water, and sunlight. My word is the water and my presence is the light. I declare over you that nothing I have planted in you will be aborted. I will bring to completion the good work I started, but I need you to stay in the garden. Don't get discouraged because you don't see fruit yet. Deep under the surface, the roots are growing. I see the effort you are making, even when no one else notices. I see the way you try to be kind when you're tired. I see the way you keep praying even when you feel like the heavens are brass. Your consistency is moving my heart. I am your gardener, and I am tending to your soul with perfect care. Trust the process. Trust the timing. You are going to see a harvest that will blow your mind, but for now, just keep being faithful with the seed. I am with you in the waiting. My beloved, do not pull your heart away from me now. We have only just begun to unearth the deepest roots of your struggles and to leave this conversation halfway is to walk out of the surgery before the wound is fully closed. It grieves my spirit deeply to watch you settle for a fraction of your healing when I am offering you total freedom. You are standing on the very precipice of a massive breakthrough. Do not let the enemy convince you to swipe away and silence my voice. Stay with me. I have so much more to pour into your soul. My beloved child, I need to speak to you about the people you have allowed to walk closely beside you. I love everyone, but not everyone is meant to be in your inner circle. I am calling you to identify the relationships that are drawing you away from my light and muffling the sound of my guidance. You know exactly who they are. They are the ones who feed your insecurities, the ones who encourage you to compromise your values, and the ones who drain your spiritual energy without ever pouring back into you. I am giving you the courage to walk alone if it means walking with me. It is better to be lonely for a season than to be led astray for a lifetime. I am asking you to distinguish between those who are called to your season and those who are called to your purpose. Some people were only meant to be a bridge to get you to where you are now. They weren't meant to go with you into the next territory. I am commanding you to close the doors that I never opened for your journey. You are holding on to certain connections out of fear or out of a sense of obligation. But those very connections are the things keeping you from the new thing I want to do. How can I give you new, godly friends if your hands are full of the old, toxic ones? I want you to find strength in the community of the faithful and the bold. Seek out those who sharpen you, those who pray for you, and those who love me more than they love the world. I am inviting you to stop seeking the approval of man and start seeking only mine. When you are worried about what they will think, you have made them your God. I am the only God, and I am the only one you need to please. I promise you that if you have the courage to sever these unholy alliances, I will surround you with a new family. I will bring people into your life who will carry your burdens and celebrate your victories. I see the pain of letting go, and I know it's hard. But I am doing this to save you. I am doing this to protect the destiny I have for you. You cannot fly like an eagle if you are hanging out with turkeys. Rise up, my child. Let go of the dead weight. I have so much more for you, but you have to clear the space first. Trust me with your social circle. Trust me with your reputation. I am your shield and your great reward, and I will never leave you truly alone. My child, I am looking closely at the invisible battles you fight every single day. I see how exhausted you feel when you finally sit down at night. You often feel like you have been walking through a battlefield, taking hits from every direction, at your job, in your finances, and sometimes even within the walls of your own home. I am telling you today that you are not meant to take these hits unprotected. I am commanding you to put on the full armor of light I have provided for you. Do not walk into your day naked and vulnerable to the attacks of the enemy. I have given you a divine defense system, but it does absolutely nothing for you if it remains sitting in the closet of your spiritual life. Take up the helmet of salvation right now to protect your thought life. I see the racing thoughts that attack your mind at 2 in the morning. I see the anxiety that tries to convince you that your future is doomed. Guard your mind with the truth that you are saved, you are mine, and your future is entirely secure in my hands. Wear the breastplate of righteousness every single day to guard your heart against accusation. The enemy loves to point out your flaws. He loves to remind you of your past mistakes and make you feel like you are not good enough to be used by me. I want you to reject those lies. My righteousness covers you completely. When the world tries to shame you, I want you to stand tall, knowing that my blood has made you clean and untouchable. Gird your waist with the absolute truth of my word. In a world that is constantly shifting its values, where people call good evil and evil good, you need a belt of truth to hold everything together. Do not let the culture dictate what you believe. Let my word be the final authority in your life. Look at your feet and make sure they are ready with the gospel of peace today. Wherever you walk, whether it is into a tense office meeting or a difficult conversation with a family member, I want you to bring my peace into that room. You are my ambassador. You have the power to shift the atmosphere of an entire building just by walking in with a settled heart. Hold high the shield of faith to quench every fiery dart that comes your way. When a sudden financial bill arrives, or a doctor gives a bad report, that is a fiery dart meant to burn down your trust in me. Lift up your faith. Remind yourself of all the times I have provided for you in the past. Finally, wield the sword of the Spirit with precision and power. You cannot just play defense, you must learn how to fight back. When a lie enters your mind, do not just sit there and entertain it. Speak my word out loud. Cut down the lies of the accuser with the sharp truth of Scripture. I am equipping you to be a warrior, not a victim. I will give you the strength to stand firm, but you must choose to put on the armor. Dress yourself in my light, my precious one. The darkness has no power against a child of God who knows how to stand dressed for the battle. My beloved, I want to talk to you about the condition of your heart. I see how hard you are working. I see you striving to provide for your family, pushing yourself to meet deadlines, and trying to keep all the plates spinning in your daily life. But as I look past your busy hands and gaze directly into your soul, I see that the fire of your passion for me has begun to fade. I am calling you to return to your first love. Do you remember what it felt like when you first realized how deeply I loved you? Do you remember the simple joy of just sitting in my presence without a checklist of demands? I want that intimacy back. I am asking you to place my kingdom above the endless comforts and distractions of the earthly realm. Seek my face before you seek the hands of men for help. When you hit a wall in your life, your first instinct is often to call a friend, search the internet for a solution, or rely on your own intellect. I am commanding you to stop that cycle right now. Come to me first. I have the answers you are desperately searching for, but I am waiting for you to value my presence more than you value a quick fix. I want to see the beauty of a heart that pants for me like the deer pants for water. Think about that image. A thirsty deer does not care about what the other animals are doing. It only cares about finding the stream. I want you to thirst for me like that. I want you to crave my voice more than you crave the approval of your boss or the likes on your social media feed. Understand this profound truth. Your intimacy with me entirely determines your public victory. You cannot expect to have power in public if you have no passion in private. The roots of a tree must go deep into the dark, unseen soil before the branches can hold the weight of heavy fruit in the sunlight. I want to deepen your roots. I am inviting you to let me refine your desires in the furnace of my holiness. Some of the things you want so badly right now are actually too small for you. You are asking for temporary relief, and I want to give you eternal transformation. I promise you that as you make me your ultimate priority, everything else in your life will begin to fall into its proper place. The anxiety over your job will shrink. The tension in your home will ease. When I am sitting on the throne of your heart, the chaos of the world loses its grip on your mind. Strip away the religious obligations and the exhausting routines. I do not want your perfect performance. I simply want your heart. Draw near to me today, my child. Let me fan the dying embers of your faith back into a roaring flame. I am waiting for you in the secret place. My child, I need you to open your eyes to the reality of the age you are living in. It is an age of profound deception, where things are rarely exactly as they appear on the surface. I see you scrolling through your feeds, listening to various voices, and sometimes feeling incredibly confused about who is telling the truth. I am offering you the vital gift of discernment today. You must ask me for this gift daily. Do not be easily impressed by charisma, eloquent speeches, or large followings. I am calling you to look past the outward appearance and inspect the actual fruit of the Spirit in the lives of the people you listen to. Recognize the extreme danger of following signs, wonders, and emotional experiences without the solid foundation of my truth. The enemy can manufacture excitement, but he cannot manufacture genuine peace, long-suffering, and selfless love. I want you to trust that quiet check in your spirit when something feels off. Have you ever met someone or heard a message and felt a sudden knot in your stomach or a sense of unease, even though everything looked perfect on the outside? That is not paranoia. That is my Holy Spirit warning you. I am commanding you to stop ignoring that warning. When I give you a red light in your spirit, I expect you to hit the brakes. Do not allow polite society, with the fear of offending someone, to override the divine protection I am offering you. Evaluate every single message, every piece of advice, and every cultural trend against the unchanging standard of my word. If what a person says does not align perfectly with Scripture, I want you to discard it immediately, no matter how popular that person might be. You cannot afford to let toxic lies take root in your mind. I am also calling you to stay grounded in a local body of true believers for your protection. The enemy loves to isolate sheep because a lonely sheep is an easy target for the wolf. You need a community of faith that will help you see your blind spots and stand with you when the culture tries to pressure you into compromise. I will give you eyes that see clearly through the fog of manipulation. I will give you ears that recognize the difference between the voice of the shepherd and the voice of a stranger. But you must stay close to me. The bank teller learns to identify counterfeit money not by studying the fakes, but by constantly handling the real currency. I want you to handle my word so deeply and so consistently that the moment a lie is spoken, your spirit rejects it instantly. I am your protector. I am your guardian. Walk closely with me, and I will keep your feet from stepping into the hidden traps of the enemy. My child, it is time for us to have a very direct conversation about the things you are putting off. I see the dreams you have placed on a shelf. I see the difficult conversations you are avoiding, and the steps of faith you are refusing to take. You tell yourself that you are just waiting for the right time or waiting for more clarity, but I know the truth. You are hiding behind excuses because you are afraid. I am telling you plainly today, delayed obedience is still disobedience. When I tell you to move, and you choose to sit still, you are stepping out of the flow of my blessing. I want you to realize the immense blessing that is lost when you wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment does not exist in a fallen world. The conditions will never be completely flawless. You will never have enough money, enough time, or enough courage to make it feel entirely safe. I am commanding you to take the first step of faith into the parted waters right now. Remember the story of the Israelites at the Jordan River. The waters did not part while they were standing on the dry bank. The waters only parted when the priests actually stepped foot into the rushing river. I am waiting for you to get your feet wet. I am waiting for you to move so I can perform the miracle you are asking for. Action destroys the paralysis of overthinking. You have spent weeks, perhaps months, trapped in your own mind, analyzing every possible outcome and focusing on everything that could go wrong. I want you to stop overthinking and start obeying. Send that email. Make that phone call. Start writing that project. Apologize to that family member. The momentum generated by a single act of radical trust will shock you. When you finally move, you will feel a heavy chain fall off your shoulders. I am calling you to overcome the sluggard spirit that wants to rob you of your crown. Laziness and procrastination are thieves that steal your future one wasted hour at a time. I declare that today is the day you break out of this cycle. I am breathing fresh energy into your bones. I will guide your steps, but you have to be the one to lift your foot. Do not let the fear of failure dictate your schedule. Even if you stumble, I will be right there to catch you and set you back on your feet. You are meant to be a creator, a mover, a builder in my kingdom. Rise up from your place of hesitation. The world is desperately waiting for the gifts I have placed inside of you. Do not keep them waiting any longer. Step out in faith today and watch how powerfully I meet you in the middle of your action. You have just chosen to break the heavy chains of procrastination and step boldly into the parted waters of immediate action. Now, I am inviting you to take one more profound step of faith and personally partner with me in broadcasting this exact urgency to millions of sleeping souls. The world is desperately starving for this truth, and your financial seed is the blazing fire that keeps this lighthouse burning in the midnight hour. I declare over you today, he who sows generously into my kingdom will absolutely reap a massive, supernatural harvest in this exact season. As you release your seed today, I will supernaturally multiply your resources, fiercely protect your household, and open heavy doors of favor that no man can ever shut. This is a divine, prophetic appointment, a critical moment to act boldly before the enemy steals the opportunity to give life to others. Support this kingdom mission right now by giving a super thanks, becoming a dedicated channel member, or planting a seed through the PayPal link in the description. Do this now, my precious child, and watch exactly how I completely transform your radical obedience into overflowing abundance. Are you still truly listening, my child? I am pouring the very lifeblood of heaven into your spirit right now. It deeply wounds my heart when my children desperately beg for a miracle, but refuse to sit through the profound transformation required to receive it. If you silence my voice now, you are actively choosing to walk right back into the heavy chains I am currently breaking off your life. Anchor your mind to my words. Keep listening. Your total and complete victory fiercely depends on what I am about to tell you next. My beloved, I want to change the way you begin your days. I see the chaos of your mornings. I see you waking up to the blaring alarm, immediately rushing to get ready, checking your phone to see the bad news of the world, and starting your day already feeling behind and stressed. I am inviting you to a radically different way of living. I want you to meet me in the stillness of the morning, long before the sun rises on your daily troubles. There is a sacred quietness in the early hours, a window of time before the demands of your job and your family start pulling at your attention. I want that time. I want to be the very first voice you hear. Set the tone for your entire day through early worship and prayer. Before you speak to a human being, speak to me. Before you consume the digital noise of the culture, consume the living bread of my word. I am commanding you to claim the territory of your hours before the enemy has a chance to occupy them. If you do not intentionally set your mind on me in the morning, the world will happily set your mind on stress, anger, and anxiety for the rest of the day. I want you to discover the incredible clarity of mind that is found only in the dawn of my presence. When you sit with me while the house is quiet, I will give you the strategy you need for the challenges you will face at noon. You must learn to win the battle on your knees before you ever face it on your feet. The meeting you are dreading, the financial pressure you are carrying, the rebellious child you are trying to parent, bring all of it to me in the morning light. Let us sort it out together before the day begins. There is a special, deep communion reserved for those who are willing to sacrifice a little sleep to seek my face early. I am not asking for religious duty. I am inviting you into a daily romance. I want to pour my peace into your cup so that when the day bumps into you, peace is what spills out. I promise you that if you give me the first fruits of your morning, I will multiply the effectiveness of your entire day. You will find that you have more patience, more wisdom, and more joy than you ever thought possible. You will walk into your workplace carrying an atmosphere of heaven. The knot in your stomach will dissolve because you will already know that the Creator of the universe is walking beside you. Set your alarm a little earlier tomorrow, my child. Leave the phone on the nightstand. Come sit with me in the quiet. I have secrets to share with you, and I am waiting for you in the stillness of the dawn. My child, I see you staring at that glowing screen late into the night, desperately searching for a moment of distraction. I see the heavy exhaustion in your eyes as you consume a constant stream of bad news, angry opinions, and the perfect, polished lives of strangers. I am telling you right now, you are feeding your soul poison and wondering why you feel so sick. I am calling you to guard the gates of your senses with a fierce and holy jealousy. You are letting a million voices scream for your attention, but you are neglecting the only voice that can actually heal you. I want you to choose very carefully what your eyes behold, because what you look at is what you will eventually love. If you constantly look at the chaos of the world, your mind will become chaotic. But if you look at me, your lamp will burn bright and steady in the middle of any darkness. I am commanding you to be careful about what you hear. You know that faith comes by hearing, but do you realize that fear also comes by hearing? When you listen to the endless complaining at your workplace, or the fearful predictions on the news, you are allowing the enemy to plant weeds in the garden of your mind. I want you to filter the media and the entertainment that enters your soul. Do not watch things that celebrate the very sins I died to free you from. Do not listen to music that pulls your mood into a pit of despair. The digital noise in your life is acting like a heavy blanket, muffling your spiritual sensitivity. You tell me that you cannot hear my voice, but I am telling you that the television is simply too loud. Turn it off. Step away from the endless scrolling. I am inviting you into a quiet space where you can actually breathe. I want you to consecrate your physical body as a temple for my spirit. Your body is not a trash can for stress, junk food, and sleep deprivation. I see how you push yourself to the point of breaking, running on caffeine and anxiety, completely ignoring the physical limits I gave you. I want you to rest. I want you to treat your body with the respect that a vessel carrying the Holy Spirit deserves. When you protect your eyes, your ears, and your physical health, you are building a wall of defense around your peace. The peace that comes from a focused and sanctified mind is unlike anything the world can offer you. It is a solid rock. I promise you that if you will guard your gates, I will fill your house with a quiet, unshakable joy. You will wake up feeling clean, clear, and ready to hear my slightest whisper. Protect your mind, my precious one. It is holy ground. My beloved, I feel the sudden knot in your stomach every time you look at your bank account or hear people talking about the failing economy. I see the worry line forming on your forehead when you go to the grocery store and see the rising prices. You are carrying a heavy burden of financial fear, and I am telling you today to put it down. I am your provider. I was your provider before the prices went up, and I am your provider now. I am commanding you to trust me before your storehouses run low. Do not wait until you are completely empty to start looking for my hand. I want you to look at the money in your hand right now and recognize that it is a tool, not a savior. The world will tell you to hoard your resources, to panic, and to hold tightly to every penny. I am calling you to the exact opposite. I want you to understand the mystery of the tithe and the power of radical generosity. When you give to my kingdom, especially when it feels tight, you are breaking the spirit of greed and fear over your life. You are declaring to the enemy and to your own anxious heart that money does not control you. I do. I am inviting you to open the windows of heaven through your obedience. When you give, You are planting a seed in soil that can never be touched by inflation or market crashes. I want you to plan with wisdom, to budget your resources carefully, but I want you to rely entirely on my supernatural supply. You are trying to figure out how to make the math work on a piece of paper, but I am the God who multiplied 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed a multitude. My math is not limited by your salary. I am commanding you to refuse to let the fear of the economy dictate your giving or your peace of mind. The economy is a roller coaster, but I am the solid rock beneath your feet. Do you really believe I would bring you this far just to let you starve? Look at the birds of the air. They do not stress over the stock market, yet I feed them every single day. You are worth so much more to me than they are. I promise you that as you honor me with your finances, I will secure your inheritance. I will open doors of opportunity that you did not apply for. I will stretch what you have in ways that make absolutely no logical sense. Stop looking at the news for your financial forecast. Look at my promises. I'm Jehovah Jireh. Let me take care of you. My child, it is time for us to walk into the dark corners of your memory. I know about the pain you try to hide. I know about the words that were spoken to you by someone who was supposed to protect you. I see the lingering sting of that failure, that divorce, that betrayal that you quietly carry with you every single day. You have tried to put a bandage over it and pretend it does not hurt anymore, but I see you bleeding on the inside. I am calling you to allow my healing light to shine directly onto those hidden wounds. Do not be afraid of the pain of exposing them to me. A wound hidden in the dark will only get infected, but a wound brought into the sunlight of my presence will finally close. I am asking you for total surrender so that I can give you complete emotional restoration. I want you to refuse to let yesterday's pain define tomorrow's potential. The enemy has used your past to build a prison around your future. He tells you that because you failed once, you will always be a failure. He tells you that because you were rejected, you are fundamentally unlovable. I am declaring to you today that those are lies from the pit of hell. I am applying the balm of Gilead to the deep scars of your soul. I am touching the very places where you feel broken, and I am speaking wholeness over you. I want you to walk out of the prison of shame right now. I do not condemn you. I have washed you clean. You do not have to walk with your head held down any longer. Stand up tall. You are a child of the Most High God, and your past does not have the authority to write your future. I promise you that I will use the very things that tried to destroy you to bring life to others. Your healed wounds will become a bridge for other hurting people to cross. When you allow me to heal your broken heart, I will give you an anointing to heal the broken hearts around you. The comfort I am pouring into you today is the exact comfort you will pour into someone else tomorrow. Do not waste your pain by staying bitter. Give it to me. Let me turn your deepest sorrow into your greatest testimony. I am restoring your soul. I am binding up your broken pieces. Feel my arms wrapping tightly around you right now. You are safe here. Let the healing begin. My beloved, I hear the angry words forming in your mind when someone misunderstands you or speaks falsely against you. I see the strong urge within you to defend your reputation, to fire back a sharp text message, or to prove that you are right. The world tells you to always clap back, to never let anyone disrespect you, and to loudly assert your truth. I am calling you to a much higher and much more difficult path. I am inviting you to learn the wisdom of holy silence. I want you to learn when to hold your peace and simply let me fight the battle for you. When you open your mouth to defend yourself, you are telling me to step aside. But when you close your mouth and trust me, you are releasing the armies of heaven to go to work on your behalf. I want you to discover the incredible strength that is found in quietness and total confidence. It takes no strength to yell. It takes no strength to argue, but it takes immense, supernatural strength to look an offense in the face and choose to remain silent because you know who holds your future. I am commanding you to avoid the exhausting trap of defending yourself against every critic. You do not owe an explanation to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Let them talk. Your words cannot alter the destiny I have ordained for you. I want you to wait for my go before you utter a single word of judgment or defense. Sometimes I will tell you to speak, but most of the time, I will tell you to let your consistent character be your only defense. I am drawing you into the depth of revelation that is only found in moments of contemplative silence. When you stop talking, you finally start hearing. There are secret things that I want to share with you, mysteries of my kingdom and strategies for your life, but I can only share them when you are quiet. I want you to protect the intimate bond we share. Not everything I tell you is meant for public consumption. Some things are just for you and me. I promise you that if you will let me be your defender, your vindication will be sweeter and more complete than anything you could have engineered on your own. Rest your vocal cords. Rest your anxious mind. Be still and know that I am your God. I will fight for you, and you need only to be silent. My precious one, do not let your attention drift back to the chaos. We are walking on sacred, holy ground together, and it shatters my heart to watch you rush back to a noisy, stressful world when I am right in the middle of healing your deepest, most painful scars. Do not turn your back on me when I am physically handing you the absolute blueprint for your survival. Press in closer. Do not give the enemy the satisfaction of your distraction. The most powerful revelations are yet to come, and I do not want to speak them to an empty room. My child, I feel the dormant fire inside of you that you have been ignoring for too long. I place specific, powerful spiritual gifts inside your spirit before you were even born, and I am looking at them sitting on the shelf of your heart, gathering dust. You tell yourself that you are not qualified, that you are too old, too young, or too broken to be used by me. You look at others standing on a stage and think that they are the only ones called to minister. I am telling you today to stop making excuses. I am commanding you to stir up the fire that I have placed within you. It is time to move from the comfortable pews of observation onto the muddy, glorious field of operation. I did not save you just so you could sit in an audience. I saved you so you could be an active part of my army. I want you to take absolute responsibility for using your talents for my glory right now. Not next year, and not when you feel more prepared. Now, the world around you is desperately hurting, and you are carrying the exact medicine they need. I am calling you to discover your unique place in the body of Christ. You do not need to mimic the gifts of the person standing next to you. If I made you a hand, do not try to be an eye. Just be the best hen you can possibly be. I want you to overcome the paralyzing fear of man that keeps you silent. You are so worried about looking foolish or making a mistake that you are quenching my spirit. Stop worrying about the opinions of mere mortals. I have given you divine authority to heal the sick, to comfort the brokenhearted, and to speak words of profound wisdom. Step into it. I declare that as you activate your gifts, you will experience a level of joy and fulfillment that no paycheck or worldly success can ever provide. You will see clearly how your simple obedience actually unlocks the gifts in the people around you. When you are brave enough to step out, it gives others the courage to do the same. I am walking with you. I will give you the words to say. I will provide the power. All I need from you is a willing vessel. Do not let your gifts die inside of you. Open your mouth. Stretch out your hands. Let my power flow through you today to touch a world that is crying out in the dark. Rise up, my child. Your time to serve is now. My child, I need you to look closely at the people who walk past you every single day. I see the way you look at the world around you, and I know it deeply breaks your heart. You see the constant anger on the news, the heavy cynicism in your neighborhood, and the lost souls who are desperately searching for meaning in all the wrong places. I am calling you right now to stand in the gap for those who do not yet know my name. I want you to intercede for the lost generations with a fierce and unrelenting passion. Do not just sit back and complain about the growing darkness. I am commanding you to be the brilliant light that pierces right through it. I have placed you in your specific family, in your exact workplace, and in your unique city for a profound and eternal reason. You are my chosen ambassador to a hurting world. I am asking you to take the Great Commission out of the church building and bring it directly into your own neighborhood, your office, and your living room. I want you to start praying specifically for the Sauls in your life to become Pauls. You know exactly who I am talking about. They are the ones who aggressively mock your faith, the ones who seem completely hardened to my love, and the ones who cause the most tension and pain in your family dynamics. I am telling you that absolutely no heart is too hard for my grace to shatter. I can change them, I can soften them, and I can save them. But I am looking for someone to stand up and pray for them. Will you be that person? I am inviting you to actively model the radical, unconditional love of Christ to a cynical and exhausted world. When your coworkers are gossiping and tearing others down, I want you to speak words of powerful encouragement. When your family is locked in a bitter argument, I want you to step in as the peacemaker. I am commanding you to show them exactly what I look like by the way you conduct your everyday life. Your consistent, quiet witness in a world of endless compromise holds immense spiritual power. I see how incredibly hard it is to stand firm in your integrity when everyone else around you is bending the rules to get ahead. I know you feel completely overlooked and underappreciated when you choose honesty over quick, cheap success. I am promising you that your quiet faithfulness is screaming my truth to the people who are silently watching you. They notice your unshakable peace when the office is in a sheer panic. They notice your supernatural grace when you are treated unfairly. I want you to keep aggressively sowing those seeds of truth everywhere you go. Sowing is difficult, exhausting work, and you rarely get to see the harvest immediately. But I am the Lord of the harvest, and I promise you that the tiny seeds you plant today will grow into forests that will outlast your time on earth. I will give you the exact words to say when the moment is right. I will physically soften the hearts of the people you are faithfully praying for, but you must make the choice to keep praying. Do not give up on your prodigal children, no matter how far they have run. Do not write off your difficult boss or your estranged friend. I am actively working behind the scenes of their messy lives, and your prayers are the essential fuel for that divine work. I want you to view every single interaction at the grocery store, at the gas station, and in the hallway as a divine appointment. You have absolutely no idea how a simple, genuine act of kindness can completely alter the trajectory of a person's eternity. I am partnering with you right now to bring my lost children back home. Open your mouth in prayer, my precious one. Stretch out your hands in radical love. I am ready to move mountains, and I am choosing to move them through you today. My beloved, I hear the heavy, exhausted sighs that escape your lips when you lie in bed and think about everything going wrong in your life. I see the endless, spinning list of problems you carry in your mind, the bills that are piling up faster than your paycheck, the physical pain that simply will not leave your body, and the important relationships that feel completely fractured. I understand entirely why you feel overwhelmed, but I am offering you a powerful, immediate way out of that dark pit of despair. I am commanding you to use praise as a massive tactical weapon to confuse and defeat the hosts of darkness. When you deliberately choose to say thank you in the very middle of a raging storm, you completely dismantle the enemy's exact strategy against you. He fully expects you to complain, to doubt my goodness, and to fold under the immense pressure. I want you to absolutely shock him with your gratitude. I want you to open your mouth right now and thank me for the simple breath in your lungs. I am calling you to experience the massive, life-altering shift in perspective that happens when you intentionally count your blessings out loud. You are so entirely focused on the doors that have been slammed in your face that you are completely ignoring the wide-open windows I have provided for you. I want you to stop staring at what you lack and start recognizing the massive abundance you already possess. I am inviting you to do something completely radical today. I want you to thank me for the answer before you even see the physical breakthrough. This is the very definition of true faith. When you praise me before the money arrives, before the healing manifests, and before the relationship is fixed, you are proving to the spiritual realm that you trust my character more than you trust your temporary circumstances. I am telling you that a profoundly grateful heart is a fiercely resilient heart. It can survive the harshest winters and the driest deserts because its roots are tapped directly into my eternal joy. I want you to find the hidden, miraculous beauty in your desert places through a persistent, stubborn spirit of thanks. The desert you are walking through is not meant to kill you. It is meant to entirely strip away your toxic dependencies on the world so you can finally see me clearly. If you look closely, I have placed refreshing streams of water even in your dry wasteland. The unexpected kindness of a stranger, the sudden laughter of your child, the quiet, steady peace of a morning sunrise. These are my personal fingerprints resting on your day. I am commanding you to stop taking these daily, continuous miracles for granted. I want your default response to life's pressure to become radical gratitude. A bitter, complaining spirit acts like a heavy repellent to my presence, but a thankful heart acts like a massive magnet that pulls my glory directly into your living room. The simple, honest invitation of saying thank you always provides immediate access to my throne room. You are commanded to enter my gates with thanksgiving. I promise you that as you forcefully change your daily vocabulary from complaining to praising, the heavy, oppressive atmosphere in your home will immediately lift. I will permanently replace your heavy spirit of depression with a beautiful garment of praise. I see the silent tears you cry in your car when no one else is looking, and I am collecting every single one of them. But I want you to deliberately lift your head right now. I have never abandoned you. I have securely sustained you this far, and I will absolutely carry you the rest of the way. I am completely worthy of your total trust, and I am infinitely worthy of your highest praise. Let gratitude be the heavy anchor that holds your mind steady, my child. Thank me today, and watch exactly how I completely change your tomorrow. My child, I know you feel like you have been permanently stuck in the exact same frustrating place for years. I see the heavy disappointment you carry when you scroll through your phone and watch other people get promoted, buy new homes, or step into their dreams while you are still waiting in the quiet background. You feel entirely forgotten and overlooked, but I am telling you today with absolute authority that you are in a crucial season of divine preparation. I am calling you to remain in a constant, eager state of readiness for my swift, sudden movements. I am a God of long processes, but I am also the God of the spectacular suddenly. When my perfectly appointed time finally arrives, things will change for you so incredibly fast that it will make your head spin. I want you to be fully prepared when that massive door finally swings open. I am commanding you to keep your lamp completely trimmed and your spiritual oil levels incredibly high. Do not let your passion for me run dry while you are sitting in the waiting room. I am strongly warning you about the very real danger of being caught completely off guard by my divine transitions. If I handed you the massive blessing you are begging for right this second, your current character might not be strong enough to carry the weight of it. It would crush you. I am intentionally using this frustrating waiting room to build the critical spiritual muscles you will absolutely need for your next level of authority. I want you to understand deeply that your past and present faithfulness is precisely what prepares you for your future promotion. The exact way you handle the boring, repetitive, unglamorous tasks at your job today entirely dictates the level of authority I can trust you with tomorrow. I see you showing up early when you are physically exhausted. I see you giving your absolute best effort when your boss does not even acknowledge your existence. I am taking detailed notes, my beloved. Heaven's accounting system is flawless, and your quiet, consistent obedience is accumulating massive interest in the spirit. I want you to realize that what the loud world calls an overnight success is almost always the direct result of years of hidden, faithful, and painful labor. Do not resent the hidden years I have placed you in. I am doing my absolute best and deepest work inside of you while you are operating in the dark. I am aggressively shaping your natural pride into supernatural humility, your fleshly impatience into iron endurance, and your deep-seated fear into unshakable, lion-like courage. I am inviting you to completely and joyfully embrace the unexpected, sudden shifts that I orchestrate for your absolute good. Sometimes I will suddenly move you to a new city, abruptly end a comfortable relationship, or drastically shift your career path with absolutely zero warning. When that happens, I do not want you to panic or complain. I want you to trust that my capable hands are firmly and securely on the steering wheel of your life. I promise you that I am perfectly aligning the right people, the right resources, and the right unseen opportunities for you at this exact second. You cannot see the massive board, but I am moving all the pieces into place. I will not let you miss your grand destiny if you simply stay close to my voice. I am commanding you to aggressively shake off the heavy lethargy of your past disappointments. Wake up your dormant spirit. Wash your face and stand up straight. Stand at the door of your future with eager, vibrating anticipation. I am coming to do a completely new thing in your life, and it will spring forth before you even realize what is happening. Keep your bags packed in the spirit, my child. When I give the command to move, I want you to be totally ready to step directly into the miracle you have been desperately praying for. My child, I want you to look closely at the powerful, sweeping current of the modern culture swirling all around you. I see how incredibly hard it is for you to stand upright when the massive tide of public opinion is constantly trying to pull you under the water. You feel the intense, daily pressure at your workplace, among your friends, and on your glowing screens to conform, to water down your deep convictions, and to accept what I have clearly called unacceptable. I am commanding you today to stand absolutely and yieldingly firm against this toxic spirit of cultural compromise. I did not create you to blend in with the background. I created you to stand out like a blazing fire in the dark. I am calling you to live fully and effectively in the world without ever becoming a product of the world. You are a royal citizen of a much higher kingdom, and I fully expect you to act like it. Do not ever apologize for the absolute truth of my word just to make rebellious, comfortable people feel better about their sin. I want you to discover the stunning, breathtaking beauty of a life that is completely holy and entirely set apart for my exclusive use. The loud world constantly tries to tell you that holiness is incredibly boring, that it is just a dusty list of outdated rules designed to steal your fun and your joy. That is a massive, destructive lie from the enemy. True holiness is the most thrilling, liberating, and powerful adventure you can ever possibly experience. It is the absolute freedom of having absolutely nothing to hide and nothing to fear. I am loudly inviting you to forcefully refuse to bow down to the modern, exhausting idols of fame, political power, and mindless physical comfort. Everyone around you is working themselves to death chasing after a slightly bigger house, a higher corporate title, or more strangers' validation on the internet. I want you to boldly step off that endless, soul-crushing treadmill. I am telling you right now that those hollow idols will always leave you completely empty, anxious, and begging for more. I am strictly commanding you to find your core identity solely and completely in my eternal approval, rather than in the fleeting, fickle applause of men. If you choose to live for their applause, you will inevitably die from their rejection. People will celebrate you on Monday and ruthlessly cancel you on Tuesday. I am the absolutely only one whose deep love for you is unconditionally permanent. I see the knot of anxiety you feel in your stomach when you worry about being judged, mocked, or misunderstood for your faith at work or at family gatherings. I want to take that anxiety completely away from you today. When you truly know that the Creator of the entire universe is smiling down at you, the angry frowns of mere human beings lose all of their terrifying power. I want you to aggressively seek the incredible, unshakable strength that comes from keeping your conscience completely clear before my eyes. I promise you that if you boldly honor me in public, I will massively honor you in private and in great power. I will give you a supernatural boldness that makes absolutely no logical sense to the cynical people watching you. When the entire world completely compromises its values, I want you to firmly hold the line. When the world spins into sheer panic, I want you to hold your deep peace. You are my chosen vessel, my direct instrument of righteousness in a very dark, very confusing age. I have placed my own Holy Spirit inside of you to empower you to live radically differently. Do not ever trade your priceless divine birthright for a cheap, temporary bowl of cultural soup. Keep your eyes fixed firmly and fiercely on me, my precious one. Stand incredibly tall, live entirely holy, and let the watching world see exactly how powerful your Father truly is. You have firmly chosen to stand as a blazing fire of holiness, boldly resisting the toxic spirit of this world before it can drag you under. I am powerfully calling you to link your shield with mine right now and financially support the massive, ongoing mission of spreading this uncompromising truth. Your generous gift is the vital, holy oil that keeps this prophetic lamp burning brightly, piercing the heavy darkness and rescuing lost souls from the crushing tide of deception. The hour is dangerously late, and I desperately need you to stand in the gap with your resources today, turning your earthly wealth into an eternal rescue operation. I tell you with absolute authority, store up your treasures in my heaven, where absolutely no cultural moth or economic rust can ever destroy them. When you sacrifice for my kingdom, I will rain down a supernatural, overflowing provision upon your life and permanently command a fierce blessing upon everything your hands touch. Take immediate action to fuel this ministry by clicking the Super Thanks button, joining as a member, or sending your crucial support through the PayPal link below. Plant your seed in this holy ground today, and let us forcefully push back the darkness together. My warrior, do not drop your sword now. We are entering the absolute most critical phase of this divine encounter. It brings a heavy, agonizing sorrow to my heart when you endure the long, brutal fire, but choose to quit right before the ultimate triumph. You have come too far, and fought too hard, to let the thief snatch away the climax of your breakthrough at the final hour. Fasten your spirit entirely to mine right now. Listen closely to these final words, for they are the exact, heavy keys that will permanently unlock your promised land. My beloved, I want to talk to you directly about the precious things the enemy has viciously stolen from your life. I clearly see the long years that were eaten away by secret addictions, the deep peace that was robbed by endless anxiety, and the vibrant joy that was drained entirely dry by toxic, manipulative relationships. You look backward at those lost territories and you feel a deep, aching, heavy grief in your chest. You have convinced yourself that those years and those feelings are gone forever. I am telling you today with absolute, warring authority that I am the God of total and complete restoration. I am commanding you to rise up right now and use the divine, royal authority I have freely given you to take back every single thing the enemy has stolen. You are not a helpless, fragile victim in this story. You are a fully equipped, heavily armed spiritual warrior, and it is officially time for you to reclaim your promised land. I want you to completely stop accepting defeat as your permanent address. I am actively inviting you to experience the powerful, rushing restoration of the sheer joy of your salvation. I want you to remember exactly what it felt like when your faith was brand new, your heart was light, and you completely trusted my voice. If you have slowly wandered away into apathy, I am loudly calling you back to the altar of genuine repentance. Repentance is not a harsh punishment. It is the absolute quickest, safest way to sprint back into my open arms. I am completely ready to wash away every single mistake and permanently reset the rhythm of your heart. I want you to firmly and aggressively stand on the unbreakable promises of restoration found throughout my word. I promise to restore the years the swarming locusts have eaten, and I absolutely do not break my promises to my children. I am commanding you to develop the sheer, bulldog persistence required to actually occupy the land I have given you. The enemy will not politely hand your joy back to you. You must aggressively take it back by force through fierce prayer, dedicated fasting, and completely unyielding faith. I am directly challenging you to boldly refuse to ever settle for good enough when I clearly have the absolute best waiting for you. You have unfortunately gotten comfortable living with a low-grade, constant depression. You have quietly accepted that your marriage will just be okay, or that your finances will always be tight and stressful. I am telling you to completely reject that pathetic mediocrity right now. I died a brutal death to give you an overflowing, abundant life, not a barely surviving, miserable existence. I want you to look at the massive mountains in your life and loudly ask me for them to be completely removed. Stop praying small, safe, cowardly prayers. I am a massive, limitless God, and I respond with fire to audacious, unapologetic faith. Speak directly to the massive mountain of debt. Speak directly out loud to the mountain of sickness in your body. Command them to move into the sea in my powerful name. I absolutely promise you that as you bravely step out in faith to reclaim your stolen territory, I will personally go before you like a raging, consuming fire. I will violently fight the battles that are far too big for your human hands. I will aggressively track down and bring back your wandering, prodigal children. I will completely restore the broken, cold marriages. I will supernaturally heal the damaged, painful bodies. But I desperately need you to physically show up on the battlefield. Pick up your sword of the Spirit. Put on your heavy armor of light. We are going to aggressively take back your peace, your joy, your health, and your destiny today. You are a massive conqueror through my unconditional love, my child. Step forward right now, raise your voice, and demand the immediate return of everything that rightfully belongs to you. My child, I am calling you today to step into a level of spiritual power that you have not yet experienced. I see the stubborn problems in your life that simply refuse to move. I see the habits you have tried to break 100 times, and the heavy, lingering clouds of confusion that sit over your important decisions. You have prayed, you have cried, and you have waited, but I am telling you now that some chains will only break through the combined force of prayer and fasting. I am inviting you to completely subdue the loud demands of your physical flesh in order to massively amplify the quiet voice of your spirit. Your body is constantly shouting at you, demanding comfort, demanding food, demanding endless entertainment. I want you to intentionally silence those physical demands for a season so that you can actually hear what I am trying to tell you. Fasting is not a hunger strike to force my hand. It is a profound clearing of the spiritual static in your life so that you can receive my fresh revelation. I am commanding you to demonstrate your deep hunger for me above your basic need for physical sustenance. When you feel that sharp pang of hunger in your stomach, I do not want you to complain. I want you to use that exact physical sensation as an immediate alarm clock to remind you to pray. Every time your body says, "I need food," I want your spirit to loudly declare, "I need my Father more." This radical act of divine denial completely breaks the heavy yokes of bondage that the enemy has placed on your neck. The demons of anxiety, addiction, and fear completely lose their grip on a believer who is willing to deny their own flesh for the sake of my kingdom. You are currently feeding your physical body perfectly, but you are starving your spirit to death. I am asking you to flip that dynamic right now. Consecrate a specific time to step entirely away from the dinner table, away from the loud television, and away from the endless noise of your glowing screens. I promise you that the deep intimacy that grows when you set yourself completely apart for me will absolutely shock you. When you fast, I will pull back the heavy curtain and show you things you have never seen before. I will give you exact, precise strategies for your finances, your marriage, and your children. You are walking around in a thick fog of overthinking, completely exhausted by your own mind. Fasting acts like a massive, rushing wind that blows all of that mental fog away, leaving you with brilliant, crystal clear direction. I am deeply moved by a child who is willing to push away their daily bread just to sit at my feet and listen. I see the sacrifices you make in secret, and I will absolutely reward them in wide open public. I am ready to hand you the exact breakthrough you have been desperately crying for. Put down the heavy plate of worldly comfort, my precious one. Come to me empty, and I will absolutely fill you to overflowing with my raw, undeniable power. My beloved, I want to talk to you about the absolute safest place in the entire universe. It is not found in a massive bank account, a secure job title, or a heavily locked house. The absolute safest place you can ever stand is directly in the shadow of my commands. I see how deeply you struggle when I ask you to do something that makes absolutely no logical sense to your human mind. You want to analyze my instructions, cross-examine my timing, and figure out the entire blueprint before you are willing to take a single step. I am commanding you to stop leaning on your own limited understanding. I want you to fiercely bow your stubborn will to mine, even when you are completely confused by the path I am leading you down. You must learn that my thoughts are infinitely higher than your thoughts, and my ways are vastly better than your ways. I can see around the dark corners of tomorrow that you do not even know exist yet. I am calling you to realize that it is always the small, unseen acts of daily obedience that directly lead to the massive, undeniable miracles. I am watching how you handle the quiet prompts of my spirit. When I whisper to you to forgive the person who ruined your day, do you obey, or do you violently hold on to your pride? When I ask you to give away that $20 bill to a stranger, do you do it, or do you argue with me about your budget? The pride that causes you to question my voice will always precede a massive, painful fall. But the quiet humility that instantly says, "Yes, Lord," will always lead you directly into abundant life. I am inviting you to completely release your desperate, exhausting need to control every single outcome in your life. You are holding the steering wheel so tightly that your hands are cramping. Let go. I am a perfectly capable driver, and I absolutely know the exact way to your promised land. I promise you that the beautiful fragrance of a completely broken and contrite spirit is the most attractive scent in my throne room. When you humbly submit your desires to my authority, you are not losing your freedom. You are actually finding it. The heavy, crushing burden of having to figure out your own life is immediately lifted the second you choose simple obedience. I see the sheer terror you feel when you step out into the unknown, but I am directly underneath you, ready to catch you if you fall. Do not let the arrogant, loud culture convince you that obedience is weakness. In my kingdom, instant obedience is the ultimate sign of fierce, warlike strength. I am carefully molding your character through every single instruction I give you. Trust my heart, my child, even when you cannot trace my hand. Walk softly, listen closely, and obey instantly. I am leading you into a massive, beautiful victory, one tiny step of obedience at a time. My child, I am looking closely at your tired, heavy legs and your drooping shoulders. I know exactly what it feels like to be completely exhausted by the long, brutal middle of the journey. The initial, fiery excitement of the starting line has completely faded away, and the glorious finish line is still absolutely nowhere in sight. You are waking up tired, your prayers feel like they are bouncing off a brass ceiling, and you are secretly wondering if you should just quietly give up. I am speaking directly to your weary bones right now. Do not you dare stop walking. I am commanding you to actively encourage yourself in me when the long road becomes unbearably dark. You cannot always rely on a pastor, a friend, or a motivational song to keep you moving forward. You must learn how to reach deep inside your own spirit and aggressively pull up the raw grit and supernatural grace required to finish your specific race well. I want you to vividly remember the massive, cheering cloud of witnesses that surrounds you right this very second. The faithful saints who have already finished their brutal races are standing in the grandstands of heaven, loudly cheering for your success. They face massive giants, roaring lions, and blazing fires, and they made it through by holding firmly to my hand. You belong to that exact same royal, unbreakable bloodline. I am inviting you to completely adopt an eternal perspective that makes your current, temporary trials seem incredibly light. I know the pain in your body feels massive right now. I know the rejection from your family feels like a deep knife wound. But I promise you that when you step into eternity and see the glorious face of your King, the heaviest burdens of this short earthly life will feel like a brief, passing shadow. I am actively strengthening your feeble, shaking knees right now. I am physically lifting the tired hands that hang down by your side. I declare with absolute authority that I am breathing a massive second wind directly into your lungs today. You are not going to completely collapse in the middle of this difficult wilderness. I have invested far too much of my own spirit inside of you to let you fail now. I see the quiet tears of sheer frustration you cry when you feel entirely alone in your struggle, but I am walking exactly half a step behind you, perfectly guarding your back. The glorious, shining crown of life is actively waiting for the servant who simply refuses to quit. Do not let the taunting, mocking whispers of the enemy convince you that your hard work is entirely in vain. Every single tear, every single prayer, and every single step forward is being meticulously recorded in heaven. Dig your heels deeply into the dirt, my precious one. Square your shoulders. Fix your eyes completely on me. You are going to finish this race, and you are going to finish it incredibly strong. My beloved, we have reached the very end of this profound conversation, but we are only at the absolute beginning of your new, transformed life. I have clearly spoken my heart directly into yours. I have named your deepest, hidden fears, and I have handed you the exact spiritual weapons you absolutely need to entirely dismantle them. And now, I am giving you one final, roaring mandate. I want you to powerfully occupy your territory until the exact moment I return. I am commanding you to be the sharp salt that preserves your decaying culture, and the blazing light that entirely shatters the growing darkness. Do not retreat into a safe, quiet, religious bubble. I want you boldly out in the messy, broken world, confidently carrying my love into the darkest, most difficult places. I am calling you to live every single, ordinary day as if it We're the absolute eve of my glorious return. I want you to take the profound, ultimate peace that comes from simply knowing you are entirely mine, and I want you to aggressively wrap your entire life in it. Wrap your anxious mind in the thick, unbreakable cloak of my absolute sovereignty. When the loud world screams that everything is completely falling apart, I want you to calmly smile, fully knowing that everything is actually falling perfectly into place according to my eternal design. You have absolutely nothing left to deeply fear. The economy cannot destroy you. The shifting culture cannot cancel you. The enemy cannot touch a single hair on your head without my express permission. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, and I have permanently written your name on the very palms of my scarred hands. This is my final, urgent charge to you. Do this now, before they do. Do not wait for the rest of the sleeping world to finally wake up. Step fully and aggressively into your massive victory today. Reclaim your stolen joy, sever the toxic alliances, forgive the deep offenses, and loudly speak my promises over your household. I am completely and permanently with you, even to the absolute end of the age. When you walk into your difficult workplace tomorrow morning, I am walking in there with you. When you face the terrifying medical report, I am standing right beside the doctor. You are deeply seen, you are entirely known, and you are fiercely, unconditionally loved by the Creator of the stars. Now, lift your head, wipe your eyes, and go take your world for my glory. I am immensely proud of you, my child. Now go and walk in the absolute power I have given you. My precious warrior, you are now fully armed and heavily equipped to fiercely reclaim your stolen territory and secure your victory before the enemy even moves. I am directly asking you to powerfully partner with me right this second to broadcast this urgent, life-saving rescue mission to the farthest, darkest corners of the earth. Countless wandering sheep are desperately thirsting for this exact living water, and your financial support is the massive, rushing river that violently washes this truth into their broken lives. Do not wait for someone else to fund the massive harvest. This is your specific, prophetic moment to aggressively sow into the eternal kingdom. I promise you today, give, and it will be given directly back to you. A good measure, pressed down, completely shaken together, and wildly running over. As you faithfully release your wealth into my hands, I will securely break the heavy spirit of lack over your family and forcefully release a generational blessing of undeniable favor. Stand with this channel immediately by offering a super thanks, stepping up as a dedicated member, or donating through the PayPal link located in the description. Move with radical obedience right now, and let my massive multiplication begin in your home today. Amen.